This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately.
What's going on, freaks? Hopefully there'll be more people here tonight. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Hello, Tina Susser, Eugenie, Missy Six, Jacqueline, is it Ghostas? Kubi, Tina Susser, Maria, Strictly Chaos, Stickly. Scottikin 385. Linda Howe is in Linden Molden Howe of the Cattle Mutilations and Corrupt Circles. Alley Cake. Emmy Nikolov. There you go. Maria. Crystal, aka Beaver Gaming. Sub Crystal. The longest name in YouTube history. Oh, and Bama Forever. It's Mimi too. Hey, it's Mimi too, everybody. Don't forget that. Hey, it's Mimi too. Maybe that means that you have a different name, but you also go by Mimi. Or you're wanting people to say, hey, it's you too. You're left out a lot. Westbound Pony, Mary Hayes. All right. Danielle, Aqua Teal. What case don't you know? Yeah, I have a whole playlist. We've been covering the Rogers case for years. You know, Crystal Rogers. I have an article that's a timeline. We'll go over that. First, I'm going to go over the cold case that somebody sent me the other day. So I figured I'd go over that. And so what this case right here is exactly like the Brightigan case, where miraculously the two brothers were too dumb to not keep it amongst themselves, and apparently conspired with another individual who they've arrested first, knowing that likely he'll want to cut a deal to not stay in prison for a long time, and then we'll roll over on, I'm going to guess, one of the Houck brothers. Okay, so I have Houck's interrogation video here, so we'll just rewatch that whole thing when we get to it. We'll go through the timeline, we'll go through that, then we'll go through the interrogation video and watch it again. Yeah, apparently I was reading an article and then somebody else mentioned, but he actually mentions the last name of the person that was arrested, but he was talking to, and the person arrested has a father with the same name that he brought up. Okay, so I'm going to guess that, and that was a weird call on the interrogation video, the way Brooks looked and everything. He called him up. It was almost like it was a planned call, and the guy was aware that he was going to be calling him. Very strange thing. Very weird. And as far as the manhunt goes, it looked like they were pretty, like, had something cornered, you know, like they saw him running around with no shirt on. Man, that guy is able to, I mean, I'm not sure what's going on out there, but he's able to hide quickly You know, you wonder what he's doing. You'd think with all those people and the dogs and everything, they would be able to find him. So, yeah, it's amazing. It's weird how this year it seems like we're getting these answers in cases that we haven't, you know, really famous cases that hadn't had answers before. It's wild. All right, so I think what we'll do is we'll start off with the cold case first that somebody sent me. It's just one of those typical, like, what the hell happened here? Hardly anybody talks about it. And then we'll go right into the Crystal Rogers information. All right. So, like I always say on every show, if you guys want to help support the channel and like what I do here, if you could consider sending in super chats or whatever you feel like doing, that would be great. Okay. And also, as I explained, there's no ad revenue on live streams. Very rarely, anyways. So, you guys are it, man. You guys are it. All right. Anyways, I'm moving on to the. Let's see. Let me play it. We're gonna do. His name is Jacob McKnight, but his name is spelled Jake, and then like Jake Ob. Jake. Usually it's Jacob, right? But it's Jakeob. There you go. And sorry I haven't been doing the day show. I was kind of in the middle of doing that trial and really didn't have a backup plan. So maybe I'll try to find something else since there's a 8 or 9 day delay on that. But I have a feeling like some of these shows, until that fugitive is captured, we're just not going to have a very big crowds in here. Unfortunately. I guess I should have just jumped on the bandwagon, but I don't know. I'm not really sometimes I do those and sometimes I don't. I think they'll catch him. Thanks, Allie79. You are amazing. Thank you. Yes, this took place in Colorado back in 1991. Thank you, WNC Granny. Hey, Chris, just let me do the case the way I want to do it. All right, thanks. All right, here we go. And as the first sentence says, if you hadn't jumped in, Lakewood police searched a young man's Littleton home looking for evidence in the abduction and slaying of 10-year-old Jacob McKnight, but would not identify the man as a prime suspect in the case. So let's see. Searched a young man's Littleton home. So he died on the 21st, and there might be articles where, let's see, evidence in abduction. So it says, Lakewood police searched a young man's Littleton home looking for evidence in the abduction and slaying of 10-year-old Jacob McKnight, but would not identify the man as a prime suspect in the case. So it's a really young person. Okay. Yeah, well, just let me go through the case the way I'm going to go through it. It might not have all the information that you have, Chris, and we're not going to be able to look it up or anything like that, because I go through it in the order that I go through it. All right. So if I have a question later, I might ask you something, but that's about it. All right. So don't jump ahead. Don't type stuff in. Don't do any of that stuff. We like to kind of go with the flow and, don't jump ahead in the story. Right? That's sort of one of the rules that we have here, because it just kind of ruins it for everybody when you go, oh yeah, well, there's one time this guy. Okay, well, we haven't got there yet. So at the end, if we miss something, then you can throw something in. I'll let you know when I'm finished. Sound good? All right. All right, so there must have been a young person that they were looking, in their home for any evidence. We had executed a search warrant at a residence in Littleton based on a tip received through the night. Raleigh Inskeep, a spokesman for the Lakewood Police Department, said on Tuesday. But Inskeep said the young man, who is a suspect in the fondling of a 9-year-old Denver boy earlier this year, is not the prime suspect in the slaying, apparently sometime Sunday night. At this time, we cannot say he is our major suspect, he said. The boy's body was found Monday in tall grass. So let me try something here. Hold on a second. Let's see. This is... Let me just see if I can get a little bit more info here. So July 1991, Colorado. Yeah, shit. Thank you, Snarky Cinderella. So that was on Sunday, which would be the 21st. Did that show up in there? The body was... Please do not. Let's see. Body discovered in city, second... Man was found Saturday afternoon, and that's probably not related. So maybe it's more like a boy's body. I think they might have typed it in like that. Now this would be Colorado here. Okay, let's go to the next day, because it was found Sunday. Usually then it would show up in the paper the next day. So, yeah. Why did it put California there? I didn't pick California. Okay, there's 21st. Oh, this might be it right here. Let's see. No, that's a different kid. Jesus. What's going on over here, man? That's crazy. That's also in Colorado. This other, wow, I wonder if that's somehow connected somehow. A ditch rider, Tom Bertrand, has viewed the banks of the Grand Valley Canal. So Tommy Oaks, has that been solved? Pretty weird to have another case right on the same day in the same... So let's say the 23rd maybe. Okay, that's Tommy Oaks, who was a drowning victim. Yeah, so they, I guess, I mean, I can't find any references to it. There might be another way that it's worded. I just can't find it at this point. So, We've executed search warrants at a residence in Littleton based on a tip received through the night. Raleigh Inskeep, a spokesman for the Lakewood Police Department, said on Tuesday, but Inskeep said the young man, who is a suspect in the fondling of a 9-year-old Denver boy earlier this year, is not the prime suspect. At this time, we cannot say it is our major suspect, he said. The boy's body was found Monday in tall grass at Bear Creek. All right, let me try one thing. Body found Bear Creek, July 1991, Colorado. Will that show up something? Just the word Bear Creek would probably... July 1991. Ah, see, it said Texas, Colorado again. This thing is... Oh, boy. Hold on. There it is. Yeah, so it's mentioning it again right there. There, see, it just starts on the 24th and the 19th, so there's no reference even to the word Bear Creek until the 24th, and I already have that one. So, I gave it a shot. Hey, Cairo, what's going on? At this time, we cannot say he is our major suspect. The boy's body was found Monday in tall grass at Bear Creek, Greenbelt, near where he had been playing Sunday night with his older brother. Wow, Alley79 gifted 5 memberships to Michelle, Run Free, Liz Marie, Mimi Misty, and Carrie H. So it says the boy was found Monday in tall grass at Bear Creek, Greenbelt, near where he had been playing Sunday night with his older brother and 2 friends. The area is located in southwest metropolitan Denver. The Jefferson County Coroner's Office conducted an autopsy on the boy's body Tuesday, but results were not immediately available. Police said 2 people voluntarily stepped forward Tuesday with information about the murder. We have 2 people who have stated they have knowledge of the murder itself, Inskeep said. They came in for questioning voluntarily. The 2 are not suspects, he said. McKnight was last seen alive Sunday night talking to a man in a convenience store near the Greenbelt area, Inskeep said. We think he was probably killed here in the Greenbelt. There's blood, Inskeep said. The man with whom Jacob was seen talking Sunday night was identified between 5'10 and 6'2". How 5'10 and 6'2"? That's such a huge range. I mean, there's no way that it would... 5'10 and 6'2", 22 years of age, with a thin build and brown hair, bushy eye... Oh, I'm just kidding. It doesn't say that. Brown hair to middle of his back. The man wore several loop earrings on his right ear and had a pimply face, police said. Yeah. What the hell's that guy doing there? Jeez. Alright. Then the next day in the paper, the murder of a 10-year-old Lakewood boy this week is every parent's nightmare, but law enforcement officials say there are some preventative measures parents can take. The body of Jacob McKnight was found Monday in tall grass at Bear Creek, Greenbelt, near where he'd been playing Sunday night with his older brother and 2 friends. Parents should listen when children tell them about something unusual taking place around their block or school, said Officer Greg Cook of the Denver Police School Resource Unit. Anywhere between 52 and 158 children are kidnapped and murdered by strangers annually in the United States, according to the FBI figures culled over the last decades by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Hey, and there's one of the organizations that we donate money to. Cook offered the following tips for parents. Create a climate of open communication so children are more likely to discuss suspicious incidents. When discussing incidents, don't assume a superior attitude that belittles the child. If a child tells you, this guy pulled up in a blue car and asked me something weird, avoid responses such as, that wouldn't have happened if you weren't hanging around the schoolyard, or what were you doing out in the street? Right, like blaming. That's one of the things that people do that all the time. Instead of, like you go to the mall or something and you, let's say you didn't lock your door and somebody robbed your car. It's like, people lock their doors, right? But people always go, you didn't lock your door? Instead of thinking, man, people suck, that they just break into your car and steal something. Encourage children to follow their gut instincts in terms of when something just doesn't feel right. I always think back to my incident when I was a kid. Have the child participate in making decisions involving common sense precautions, such as taking only the main street home with no shortcuts, having definite times for arriving home. When a child tells you they're sleeping over at a friend's, phone that friend's parents to confirm. Okay. I think they're pretty common sense stuff. So there's a witness here, I guess, but it says traumatized witness slows inquiry. Hey, that sounds like Dylan Mortensen. Let's see. No, you don't get gifted a membership if you're already a member. Okay, the murder investigation of a 10-year-old boy has been slowed because a convenience store clerk who last saw Jacob McKnight alive is too traumatized to help identify the killer. Well, that's a little bit weirder, right? Because nothing was traumatizing when you saw him. So there's no like mental, it's just kind of weird. Just knowing, oh wow, I saw him and something bad happened, that shouldn't make you as traumatized. It's so traumatized that you can't talk. You guys are, I that's what I believe. I don't know if you agree or not. Oh wow, he came in here. Now I could see if she witnessed him being abducted and then he was killed, then it would freak you out, but she probably had no concern whatsoever at the time. She's suffering some extreme anxiety, said Lakewood Police Captain Barry Barber on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Chief Deputy District Attorney Karen Steinhauser seeks to have one suspect, John Ramsey Felix Chin, returned to jail on grounds he violated terms of his bond in an unrelated sexual assault case by having contact with children under the age of 18. Steinhauser said the 22-year-old Chin, who has not been charged in the murder, has admitted to Lakewood Police he spent time in the company of McKnight, but denies involvement in the multiple stabbing death. Denver District Judge Paul Markson, who reduced Chin's bail in the unrelated case from $50,000 to $5,000. Chin is scheduled to take a polygraph test today, according to 3 of his friends. They say they spent Sunday evening with him during the time the murder was committed. So they're his alibi. We have nothing to hide, said Stephen Goldman, 26, who knew Chin as Felix, adding that we want to see Felix cleared as fast as possible. McKnight's body was found Monday at Bear Creek Greenbelt, near where he'd been playing Sunday night with his older brother and 2 friends. On Tuesday, Lakewood Police searched Chin's Littleton home looking for evidence in Jacob's abduction and slaying. Police also questioned 2 people who volunteered information about the murder. The man with whom Jacob was seen talking Sunday night was identified as between 5'10 and 6'2", 22 years of age, with a thin build and brown hair to the middle of his back. The man wore several loop earrings on his right ear and had a pimply face. The man's companion was 5'8 to 5'10 with muscular build, was about 25 years of age, tattooed on both arms, and wore his reddish-brown hair and a short rat tail. So there was two men then. Yeah. The family and friends of 10-year-old boy who was killed last summer have burned a tree stump near the murder site in an effort to ease their suffering. Authorities have yet to arrest a suspect in the July death of young Jacob. This is December here. Young Jacob McKnight. His body, ravaged by multiple stab wounds, was found on Bear Creek Greenbelt after he failed to return home from playing with friends. The McKnights gathered after dusk Saturday to set the stump afire, saying it will help them get through the Christmas holiday. It's hard to think there was a little boy stabbed to death on this lawn, said Gary McKnight, Jacob's father. Maybe somebody will come forward and tell the truth, because we can't forget what happened, Terry McKnight, Jacob's mother, said. All right, so that was December 16th, 1991, and then the next article I could even find was September 24th, 1992. I think it was, I can't remember, is it right over here? Yeah, right here. I just, this article has his name in it. I was kind of struggling to figure out, but it was kind of a weird coincidence, I guess. A federal magistrate on Wednesday ordered psychiatric evaluation for a 33-year-old woman who allegedly stalked President Bush with a loaded pistol during his campaign visit to suburban Denver last week. U.S. Magistrate B.D. Pringle turned over custody of Deborah Butler, a legal secretary from Arvada, to the U.S. Attorney General's office, which has 30 days to have an evaluation of the woman done to determine her mental competency. Pringle did not get bond for Butler, nor did he schedule a future hearing date during the brief court appearance. Butler was arrested Monday and is charged with one count of threatening the president, which carries a maximum 5-year sentence, and one count of attempted assassination, for which she could receive a life sentence. Attempted. She appeared in court in handcuffs, clad in khaki jail uniform, and did not speak. Butler, who allegedly said she admired would-be presidential assassin Sarah Jane Moore as a role model, is accused of stalking the president September 15th when Bush spoke at an outdoor rally in a southeast Denver business park. In a diary found in her car by FBI agents, Butler wrote that she decided to shoot the president to draw attention to herself and her need for help. According to the arrest affidavit, the diary also allegedly showed Butler planned to kill Bush during a planned Denver trip in August that was canceled after Hurricane Andrew hit. She was arrested at West Pine Psychiatric Hospital in Wheat Ridge and has been held without bond in Denver County Jail. Diary entries indicated Butler admired Moore, who tried to kill President Gerald Ford in San Francisco in September 1975. Let me see where, there it is. I had written Moore a letter. Moore is the first feminine role model in my 33 years of living, and she's doing life without parole for presidential plinking, the diary said. According to arrest affidavits, Butler purchased a .32 caliber pistol on September 6th, and on the day of Bush's campaign visit, she concealed the weapon in the waistband of her pants and went to Inverness Business Park to wait for the president. But when she found she would have to pass through a metal detector to enter the area where the president was to speak, Butler walked to a small hill and sat under some shade trees, the affidavit said. Butler told authorities she moved the pistol to her right front pocket and edged up to where Bush's motorcade would pass. Wow, so she was... but never had a chance to draw a weapon and fire at him. She drove home and told her husband, "I had a gun, but I couldn't do it," the arrest affidavit said. Her husband took her to the psychiatric hospital where she was arrested. Authorities said Tuesday that, I wonder if that, how long that marriage lasted after that one. Authorities said Tuesday that a woman matching Butler's description attracted the attention of the Bush security detail. Arapahoe County Sheriff Pat Sullivan says he assigned a deputy to stay between the president and a woman sitting under some trees outside the security area. I poked him in the chest to make sure he had a bulletproof vest on. Butler, so the person that they arrested here, Butler had served until July on a Jefferson County grand jury that investigated the unsolved murder of 10-year-old Jacob McKnight and was remembered by the jury foreman as perfectly normal. She didn't act any different than anybody else, said Dr. Guy McBride, retired president of Colorado School of Mines, grand jury foreman. Kind of a weird, like, you know, I mean, I just read that one because I thought it was an interesting story, but it also had a connection to the Jacob McKnight because she was on the grand jury regarding him. And they thought she was totally normal at the time. Yep, you guys, we're in that reading mode again where we're... So this one's 1997. Ramsey media coverage fit for a princess. Let's see. I just want to read this part down here. It says, it was Friedrich von Logau who said, "The mills of the gods grind exceedingly slowly, but they grind exceedingly small." Hey, wow. Thank you, Bama, forever. So we'll reverse the... Thank you. I appreciate that. We're at 42% now. Not too bad. Only 35 minutes in. Yeah, it's... You can tell that they have suspects in these articles later. It was Friedrich von Logau who said, "The mills of the gods grind exceedingly slowly, but they grind exceedingly small. Take the case of Jacob McKnight, the little boy who was stabbed to death near Bear Creek Park on July 22nd, 1991. No one was ever arrested or charged, but Lakewood police are convinced they knew who did it. The principal suspects were two young men involved in a, says, homosexual relationship. One of them saw the other in, let's see, one of them saw the other in an innocent conversation with the McKnight boy. In a jealous rage." Okay, so one of the guys apparently was talking to Jacob, and then the other one got so jealous he tracked down and killed him. But there was no evidence, and I mean, that just sounds kind of nuts, really. Like you have an adult talking to a 10-year-old, and then you're that jealous that you, I don't know. No witnesses and no charges were filed, but did the killer get away with the murder? Not really. He has since been infected with, now we're going through the AIDS, and doesn't have much longer to live. I don't know. That just seems like kind of too convenient, you know. As sad as Jacob's death was, it didn't pack the celebrity wallop of John Bonet's demise. That's true. That's probably why you never even heard of this one. Yeah, I'm not convinced. I think this is just, I don't know. It's hard to believe that. Maybe they have more information about it. Maybe one of them was a pedophile that was Let's see. Man linked to unsolved murder dies. A key figure. This is 1998, so maybe that's the guy that had AIDS. A key figure in the unsolved 1991 murder of 10-year-old Jacob McKnight has died. Tom Judge, 31, died a month ago in Philadelphia after a long illness, police said Friday. Judge was never named as a suspect or charged in the case. However, he provided the alibi for another man, questioned, but never charged. Oh, see, maybe that's what they're saying. So there was those two guys at the restaurant, but they each probably had an alibi for each other, even though one of them may have known that the other one did it. We have nothing that tells us exactly what information or knowledge he had about the crime, and with his death, we won't unless someone else tells us what he knew. Judge reportedly suffered from AIDS and had moved to Philadelphia to be with his family during his illness. Jacob was last seen the night of July 21st, 1991, in the Greenbelt area near his Lakewood home. His body was found the next day at the foot of a tree stump. He had been stabbed several times. In 2012, on Google, a 42-year-old man questioned in the stabbing of a 10-year-old Lakewood child mused in a journal about what his son would think of him if he knew of his dreams about boys. Okay, let's see. A 42-year-old man questioned in the stabbing of a 10-year-old Lakewood child mused in a journal about what his son would think of him if he knew of his dreams about boys 8 to 14 years of age. Interesting. Hey, thank you so much, Chris Rumble. Get ready to rumble. I can't really say it. The journal writings were revealed in an arrest warrant affidavit at John Ramsey Felix Chin. Oh, let's see. The journal's writings were revealed in an arrest warrant affidavit as John Ramsey. Oh, is that the... Let's see. Isn't that the dad of Jean-Benet Ramsey? I don't know if I'm remembering right, but isn't that his name? Crime detector, I'm certified human lie detector, gonna get ya. Why are they asking? Why were they questioning him about that? That's weird. Thank you, Chris Rumble and Teresa Murray. That's weird. Why did they question John Ramsey about this other murder? I never had any idea about that. Did you guys? Well, I did, Gray, because I found it.
Chewbacca? Oh, I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
Happy Friday, freaks.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said, Alley Cat. I'm just wanting to know if that was the dad. You don't need to write it all back out again. The journal writings were revealed in an arrest warrant affidavit as John Ramsey Felix Chin. That was another name we heard earlier. John Ramsey. No, that's a different John Ramsey, though, I think. Interestingly, because we just talked about how Jean-Benet's case took over, but I mean, is John Ramsey known as Felix? Like, is there... His name isn't John Ramsey Chin, right? I think it's a different person. That's kind of weird. Hold on. Yeah, it's a totally different guy. I think it's, might be, hold on. Come on, load it up, load it up. I don't know if it's this guy right here, but it seems to... Like his name pops up with that. I don't know, they're right next to each other. I don't know if that's him or not. But. Oh, yeah, you like that one? Yeah. That was pretty good. The DNA show. I think by the time we were done with that show last night, that almost everybody probably had a pretty good understanding of what the issues are in the Kohberger case with the DNA. It is sort of, a little concerning, but, why would it be a precedent-setting case on this trial that work product isn't shared? It's never been shared. You get the tree, yeah. The tree shows up there, but not how you got to the tree. So, anyways, Alley Cat, you think this isn't the same guy then? But isn't it weird though? Just the previous article at the very end, they brought up the Jean-Benet Ramsey case, how it took all the steam. And then the very next article we read, there's a guy named John Ramsey in it, but his real name is John Ramsey Chin. I mean, those kind of things are just so weird to me. I don't know why, but it's like, what? How does that happen? There isn't really like a ton of people named John Ramsey. Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes I don't believe in coincidences that much in true crime, but this isn't one. It's just his name is John Ramsey Chin. So, anyways, the charges are unrelated. The journal writings were revealed in an arrest warrant affidavit, as John Ramsey Felix Chin was recently charged with 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. But his name was mentioned in one of the first articles we read, right? Don't you remember that? Let me just see if I get lucky here and it pops up in this. No. Yeah, so his name was definitely part of that early on. The journal writings were revealed in an arrest warrant affidavit as John Ramsey Felix Chin was recently charged with 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. The charges are unrelated to the 1991 murder of Jacob McKnight in Bear Creek, Greenbelt, said Casimir Spencer, spokesman for Arapahoe County District Attorney Carol Chambers. In a recent criminal case, Chin came under suspicion as authorities investigated him as an undercover oxycodone distribution case in 2009 and 2010. Chin was convicted in the drug case as a child sexual exploitation case went forward. On February 9, 2010, a South Metro Drug Force agent issued a search warrant for Chin's home at 777 East Kenyon Avenue in Inglewood and confiscated a computer, 118 CDs, sounds like Keegan Kline, numerous USB devices with 7 gigabytes of memory, 148 floppy disks, 17 zip drives, cell phones, and various journals, according to the affidavit. Authorities determined that the material included 38 pornographic pictures. The photographs depicted nude, prepubescent children, including a boy sitting on a kitchen countertop. Investigators also found 8 videotapes containing child pornography, the affidavit said. The child is videotaped as he performs gymnastics moves nude on a mattress. During the videotapes, an adult male voice is heard speaking with the child as he jumps on the mattress. The male's voice is believed to be Chin, John Ramsey Chin. Man, this just took a weird turn. Like now we're just totally Delphi feelings here. It's crazy. Chin allegedly wrote in his journals about instances in which he slept in the same bed with boys, and had dreams about boys between the ages of 8 and 14. He also wrote about boys who told him that they loved him and how special that made him feel. I think Michael Jackson wrote some of those same, felt almost exactly like that. Investigators reviewed to be honest, I love Michael Jackson's music, but he was always kind of a weird person to me, I gotta be honest. Investigators reviewed journals handwritten by Chin. In one of them, they found a reference to NAMBLA, which is, they'll tell you, an acronym for North American Man-Boy Love Association, which promotes sexual relationships between men and boys, the report says. Investigators found 35mm and 110mm film negatives of nude persons, but agents were not able to determine who they were and whether they were children. Those negatives were not confiscated. A warrant for Chin's arrest was signed on August 16th. Thank you, Cali Gal 3. How's it going out there? And by the way, everybody, thanks everybody who was sending in super chats for when I was in Moscow, Idaho. I was just struggling. I think I'll learn how to be better with the phone. Here's the thing. You guys want to hear the dumbest thing you've ever heard in your life? I'll get back to the story here in a minute, but listen to this. See, we have cell phones, and we actually buy the cell phones for our kids too, right? So, my phone's pretty new, but they had us on the second generation plan, and currently they're on the fourth generation, like the actual plan of service and things that you get or something, and we were paying $250 a month for 4 phones, which isn't like ludicrous, right? But as soon as I switched over to I told him, well, we're struggling switching over to the fourth one, and she goes, but as soon as we switch over, it's $120 a month. And I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, so I'm paying $100 more a month for a worse plan. And you guys never told me, hey, I go, you guys owe me money. I've been paying that extra money for months now. I mean, what a joke these people are. Yeah. Now it was the Xfinity cell phone thing. Anyways, they're working on it now to try to switch it over, and I don't know, man. I feel like I need to get all that money back for those months. I've been a customer for for them not that long, because I switched from T-Mobile to them 3 years ago or something. No, I had T-Mobile. I don't know. This was way cheaper, unlimited. I think once they get me all figured out, it'll be just fine. It uses Verizon cell towers and everything, so. But man, what a joke. Never seen anything like it. Anyway. Let's get back to this. So anyways, investigators reviewed journals handwritten by Chin. In one of them, they found a reference to NAMBLA. Yep. Investigators found 35mm, 110 film negatives of nude persons, but agents were not able to determine who they were and whether they were children. Those negatives were not confiscated. What? A warrant for Chin's arrest was signed on August 16th. McKnight was stabbed numerous times on the Bear Creek Greenbelt in Lakewood on July 21st, 1991. Chin was identified as a suspect in the case. So you're talking about, 19 years earlier. Chin was identified as a suspect in the case, as we read earlier, along with others, but witnesses provided an alibi for him. Lakewood police still consider Chin a person of interest in the murder. Jesus. This is insane. Lakewood Police spokesman Bonnie Martin said the investigation of McKnight's death continues, but declined to say whether investigators have uncovered any new leads in the case. McKnight's family are still extremely grief-stricken over the murder of their son and are not ready to comment on the case or John Chin. That was 2012. Then there's a 2017 article in here. Project Unsolved. Friends and detectives continue search for Jacob McKnight's killer. 26 years on. 26 years after 10-year-old Jacob McKnight was brutally slain at a Lakewood, Colorado park, an old friend who was among the last to see him and a cold case detective aren't giving up on bringing someone to justice. And they say the primary suspects haven't changed after all these years. Yeah, but you know what's amazing, you guys? I mean, there are so many cases out there where, man, this guy is the prime suspect. Just, you know, they've always thought it was, and then when they do the DNA testing, it's some other person. See, Gray, they might be doing the same thing with Koberger. Yeah, except they got his DNA. You get it? You see what I'm saying? But how do we know how it got there, Gray? Yeah, but Gray. I need to have like a button for that one. What do you think? One that says, but Gray. Yeah. All right. Is that? So that's him right there. If I haven't, it's in the thumbnail of the. They're not giving up. There's him. The Greenbelt off South Watchford and Lakewood was a haven for kids in the summer of 1991, back when parents were perhaps more comfortable with telling the youngsters to get out of the house, get their energy out, and be back for supper. Yeah, it happened all the time. I mean, that's how most people grew up until, I think, probably the mid-90s, something like that. Huh? I don't get it. There was a treehouse, plenty of woods and trails to camper. Let's see. There was a treehouse, plenty of woods and trails to scamper through, a creek to fish in. God, it's just like right down here. Fano Creek, trails, running around. And a swimming hole at the park to which throngs of neighborhood teens and their younger friends and siblings would travel by bike or by foot any day they were in school. It's where Rachel, who wished only to be referred to by her first name for the story, spent the day with 10-year-old Jacob McKnight in the last day of his life. That's where we met. That's where we all played. That was our comfort zone. That was where we felt safe, Rachel told Denver 7 at her home in suburban Denver. That's where we would play in the creek, and we would catch crawdads and minnows and swing from the rope in the water. Man, that's exactly what almost all of us kids would have done. I mean, most of us in here are, maybe not exactly as old as I am or whatever like that, but when you were young, it was still in the time frame when kids could go out and play and have fun. And this is exactly the stuff that I would do with my brothers. Probably all the way up until like 1980 something. And then it continued on in some places because even though there were predators out there, the news didn't scare people as much as it is now, and so parents are more helicopter parents, which is probably a good thing in some ways, but it also sucks that kids can't do the same fun stuff. That was so fun. Now everybody just comes home and just jumps in front of a computer and plays video games for 10 hours straight. Yeah, remember that? You just get on your bike and you would just, boom, take off and go run around in a creek and look for crawdads and whatever. I mean, it was exactly the same thing. That's where we would play in the creek and we would catch crawdads and minnows and swing from the rope into the water. We even had a rope swing on one creek. She shakes her head. And all that changed. It was our happy spot. It was our peaceful place, and after that, it wasn't. Times were different way back then, Rachel says, remembering. Yeah, see, I mean, I just said the same thing. Remembering what she says was a more carefree era. It was not uncommon to be gone all day long. Be home before the streetlights. Jacob had met, I mean, it was so weird. We could just be home at like 9 o'clock and like, you know, come home all sweaty because we were running around. And that was it. You come home at 9 o'clock or something in the summer. Rachel was there along with a few other kids from the neighborhood, most of whom were teens or younger. She says it was a typical day at the swimming hole until a group of older kids, actually young adults, showed up. One of them, a skinny man with long hair, had met the boys at the park. See, I think the chin was one of those two people that were described with the earrings and the tattoos and whatnot. And had seemingly taken a... Okay, so it says... showed up. One of them, a skinny man with long hair, had met the boys at the park a day earlier and had seemingly taken a fondness to Jacob that carried over to their encounter at the swimming hole. He and one of his buddies had some bikes the kids thought were cool. A catfishing item, probably. I think that the bikes were what got our attention. See, there you go. And had everybody talking to them, Rachel said. They were older. They were adults. They shouldn't have been hanging out with kids, but we were kids, and we didn't realize how weird that was at the time. The man who had become more interested in talking to the kids, who were actually less than half his age, took particular notice of Jacob's bright blue eyes, according to police records, and Rachel recounting the day. That's interesting. So that's Chin right there. They talked to us. They talked to all of us. One of them was mostly obsessed with Jacob now that I look back. I would say obsessed. I would say very drawn to Jacob, but we didn't know better, she says. A lot about Jacob's eyes. It's weird. It weirds me out a lot to think about it now. The kids never could have known if the man had also been released on bond just 5 days earlier, after he was arrested that May and accused of molesting the 9-year-old child of an acquaintance. He hung out with the kids, and he did do it. Now that you know what else they found in his house and everything, he definitely, even though he was accused, I bet you he did that, okay? He hung out with the kids for about 45 minutes before heading back over to his group of adult friends. Kind of lingering, not where we were, but they were kind of lingering, Rachel says. I remember when we left, it was like we got to go because the streetlights are about to come on. She took off for home while Jacob headed back to his own house on foot. His brother and friends just ahead of them on their bikes. Josh made it home, but his little brother never did. I heard that he didn't come home. My friend Jamie told me. Rachel remembers saying she hoped Jacob had just wandered off on the way back. We'll be home. By the time we wake up, he'll be home. We didn't realize that life was going to change for so many people. I remember that case as a child, says Lakewood Police Detective Ryan Fake. I remember not being able to go outside myself. My parents were very protective, not knowing if the perpetrator was still there. Fake, now a father himself, was also a young boy living in Metro Denver in the summer of 1991, and says he was not doing many of the and he says he was doing many of the same things as Jacob at the time. If Jacob was here with us today, he'd be roughly the same age. He says 10-year-old boys are doing what 10-year-old boys do. I think 10-year-old boys have such a level of innocence, and these kids were being 10-year-old kids. They were in a park. They were playing. Now in his 15th year with the Lakewood PD and 5th working cold cases, Fake is now confident that the perpetrator behind Jacob's murder is indeed still out there, either on the streets or behind bars. He's one of the detectives still working the boy's case, which has never been closed, but which has also never led to any formal charges after nearly 3 decades. And by the way, all the links that we're using here are in the description of the video. Alright, this is Denver 7 here. It is still the most heinous case that I've seen, and it would be one of those cases that gives the entire law enforcement community so much satisfaction to find the perpetrator and make an arrest. Jacob has not been forgotten, and we would like nothing more than to give him justice. When Jacob, his brother Josh, and their friends left the Greenbelt area, it was about 8:30, according to an exhaustive 2014 article by Kirk Mitchell of the Denver Post, detailing the case. Let's see that one. Did we do that one? No, it was 2012. Is it still here? Come on. Will it open? Yeah, there's something about this website. Doesn't really load up. Okay, blogs. Yeah, see, there's nothing there. That sucks. Thanks, Teresa Murray. When Josh returned home without his brother, their father went out looking for Jacob. He scoured the Greenbelt and surrounding neighborhood but couldn't find his son, so he called authorities. Nearly 24 officers and police dogs searched through the night for the boy without luck. The search continued the next day amid heavy rain and heavier heart.
An awesome Friday.
Yeah, that would be awesome. The search continued the next day amid heavy rain and heavier hearts at the McKnight home. Looks like that's a crime scene photo there. He was found by that log there. Around 4 p.m., one of Arapahoe County search party crew members found Jacob's body partially covered by leaves under a large toppled tree trunk not far from the swimming hole. Further investigation showed the young boy had been stabbed 24 times. Wow. Just the brutality, I don't think we knew how many times until right then. Just the brutality that Jacob was murdered in is unique, especially to a small child that has done nothing wrong. It appears to be a crime of rage, Fake told Denver 7. Jacob was walking through the park by himself, and all accounts were it was a crime of opportunity. Someone saw him as a very, very easy target. So I guess that would be why they think maybe it was the jealous other person. Because why would the person interested in him, I mean, I guess you could, if he refused your advances or something, but I mean, 24 stab wounds, that's crazy. Thank you, K-Me. After talking with Josh and the boy's friends, police quickly learned about the group of adults, including the man who'd taken an interest in Jacob and his blue eyes, and the 7-Eleven clerk told officers about the long-haired man she saw talking to the boy. So I wonder if the 7-Eleven was on his walk back, now that I'm trying to remember, because then that means they're still together. A composite sketch was made from the man's description that was distributed across Denver on posters, in newspapers, and on TV that showed a skinny white man with long hair and bad skin. And that's the drawing. Doesn't really look a hell of a lot like, let's see, like that guy. Yes, there is long hair though. I never found that article there. I wonder if that was what let's see, a 10-year-old Lakewood boy missing. Yeah, see, it didn't have his name yet. So I just didn't use the right keywords, so that would have showed up. Yeah, let me just try this. Let me see if I can find that. Missing 10-year-old discovered in Greenbelt. Okay, maybe not that. Searchers found the body. Oh no, his name is in there. So yeah, I don't know why. It must be in a different repository or something like that. Police realized a man who looked similar had recently bonded out of jail, who was accused of sexually assaulting a young child, another tendency that can sometimes go hand in hand with crimes of passion. Let's see. Chin was described by one reporter as androgynous looking, a young man. Chin's father, Hiram Dig Chin, a librarian, told KCNC Channel 4 reporter that his son's interest in boys is pure love. That's what Michael Jackson would say too. In another TV interview, he said his son would not have killed anyone, although he had personal problems that caused him to contemplate suicide. A friend of Chin's, Catherine White, told reporters at the time that Chin was a puppy dog, too gentle to hurt anyone. She added that he was part of a group of death rockers. He was like a mother hen to many of the youths who hung out in downtown Denver. Everybody in Colfax knew who he was. He's not a sociopath. I've seen him mad, but I've never seen him destroy anything. And while some may have touted Chin's docility at the time, state court records show a more chaotic life. He was convicted of a felony drug possession in September 1989, and according to Mitchell, had spent time in a mental health treatment facility early in 1991 before his arrest in the child molestation investigation. It almost looks like a female, to be honest with you. Police brought Chin in for questioning a day after Jacob was found dead. John himself admits to being in the park that day, to having contact with Jacob. So, yeah, even though they said, wow, it looks like you, he actually admits that it was him talking. You know he was there. You know he was in the area. You know he had the opportunity, Fake says. John Chin commented on Jacob McKnight's eyes as being the most beautiful blue eyes he's ever seen. Mitchell writes that Chin had talked Jacob into agreeing to a photo shoot in the upcoming days so he could take pictures of the boy's eyes, but that Chin adamantly denied being at the 7-Eleven with him or killing him. Mitchell also writes that several friends independently confirmed his alibi. Still, since part of Chin's bond stipulation was that he have no contact with children, it was revoked 2 days later, and he was arrested and jailed for the bond violation. He wasn't charged with any new crimes related to Jacob's death. Police interviewed the people that Chin said he'd been with that day, one of whom, Tom Judge, would also become a suspect, but the heavy rain that fell the day after Jacob was killed washed away blood, DNA, and fingerprint evidence, making police and prosecutors' efforts more difficult. Several other leads seemed promising, Fake said. but ended nowhere. Judge and Chin remained fairly uncooperative with further investigation and grand jury efforts. In August 1991, Chin posted a $50,000 bond and was released according to court records. In December, a judge dismissed the child sex assault charge against him when the victim's mother said she didn't want to put her child through testifying at the trial. And so he did it. The mother just didn't want her to go through that. Chin was clear of any charges in both cases, though police were still scrutinizing him for Jacob's murder. A few days after the charge was dismissed, Jacob's father and uncle went to the Greenbelt and burned down the stump under which the boy's body was found. But the police and district attorney never pursued charges against the grieving family. At the same time, however, they hadn't been able to secure any charges on Chin or anyone else either. As far as if he was responsible for the crime, we don't know. We have not been able to establish the evidence needed to pursue charges. We know that he had a history of that type of behavior. We just do not have the evidence that we need. Chin had a run-in with more teens that he was questioned over. Other suspects, including Judge, were probed but never arrested. This certain group had been talked to numerous times, and they have not been consistent in their account. There's definitely deception, and we have not been able to get past the deception. Judge died in 1997, and despite police putting together dozens of binders full of notes and evidence in the case, the leads went dry. Well, I guess that's probably him later. That changed, at least for Rachel, in 2012. In the paper years later, I threw up, she says. I kind of lost it. Like I didn't even have to read the article. I saw the picture and then freaked out. Chin had again been charged with sex-related crime involving children. This time, he was accused of having more than 50 discs and other media with at least 36 child porn images or videos on them. The items were discovered when his house was targeted in a drug distribution sting. Police suspected they heard his voice in some of the videos. He faced new child sexual exploitation charges in addition to drug distribution charges. I knew who he was when I saw his picture, Rachel says. It just makes my insides turn, but to see that it was child porn, it brought back a lot of feelings. But Chin was able to plea down the 2 felony sex charges to 1 misdemeanor count of sexual contact without consent. Paired with his drug conviction, he was sentenced to, in February of 2015, to 5 years of probation. But just 8 months later, Littleton police arrested Chin again on another felony count of sexual. This guy's a serial sex offender. You should just keep him locked up for the rest of his life, okay? Exploitation of a child, video, 20-plus items. He pleaded guilty in April of 2016 to the same charge and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. His face was still with me, without a doubt, Rachel says. That's who I firmly believe killed my friend. For now, it's known that one of the 2 or more suspects in the case isn't at large in the community. Chin, now 48, remains in prison at the Bent County Correctional Facility. His next parole hearing is scheduled for August 2018. His mandatory release is September 23rd, 2019. So he's probably running around at this point. And while Fake and his partners at the department says they still haven't ruled him out as possibly being Jacob's killer or as knowing who did kill the boy, the detective says he and the team are going back over everything and trying new scientific methods. There's been a group of suspects throughout the years, and that group of suspects has not changed. We have been unable to eliminate any of the core group as a suspect, and we really have not identified any additional suspects. So we've been going through prior statements and analyzing prior evidence. Evidence has been resent to the state labs as well as private labs in an attempt to find any additional evidence, whether it would be DNA, fingerprints, any evidence that we can find. And he says that while the rain that day has always made evidence collection in this particular case difficult, he hopes that what has been collected and any new evidence or testimony that comes forward can help nail down who killed Jacob. Hey, thank you so much, Kelly Snyder. Yeah, got really silent there for a while. So now we got the... Rachel now has a son of her own. Sorry for my sniffling. And it says Jacob's murder has affected the way she raised him. Yeah, I'll just finish it. I'm not the only one who thinks about Jacob every day. You know, the investigators, his family. That makes me sad. I think sad is what you meant to say. Calling to the sector, the predictor. I'm a certified evil eye detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher, even try and play me like an old protector. All right, thank you. So I think what it says, that makes me sad, she says. A conviction would mean that Jacob wasn't forgotten. It would mean that his parents were able to see justice. I mean, if you can even call it that. I don't know if I would be able to call it justice after 26 years. But she, like the detective working to solve Jacob's case, believes someone knows who his killer is, and that they're still alive. Somebody is still out there, whether they're walking among us, or they're in prison, or wherever they are. They're still out there. Somebody has just been able to go to sleep every night, which baffles me beyond words, she said. That is kind of weird when you think about somebody who murders somebody and they're able to get on their bed and go fall asleep. What kind of monster can do that? Anyone who wishes to contact police with information about Jacob McKnight's murder can call the Metro Denver Crime Stoppers at 720-913-7867 or the Lakewood Police Department at 303-987-7111. Let me see if is there one more in here? Yeah, let's see. Can I skip the ads? Forget it. It does say right here, a $5,000 reward is being offered for information about the July 1991 killing of 10-year-old boy who was last seen playing with his brother and friends in a greenbelt area in Lakewood. Jacob McKnight spent the early evening hours of July 21st, 1991 playing with his older brother and friends. I think we've pretty much gone through it all. Does that even look good? I'm just curious. Let's see. His body was found in the greenbelt following day. Anyone with information is to call Crime Stoppers now. Maybe this number is different. It's 720-913-7867. Then there was one more. Let's see if there's any substantial. This is 2022. Yeah, it looks like it's just sort of a synopsis. I think that 2017 article pretty much had the breakdown and all the newspaper articles. So my opinion is it's definitely one of those people from the park and 7-Eleven. Obviously related to Chin there. Don't you think? So there you go. I think that's it. What do you think? What do you think, Russell? Yeah, it seems like they should be able to. I mean, if I was them, they probably believe he was sexually assaulted, I would imagine. Unless, see, here's the thing. I think maybe he wasn't sexually assaulted. And that's why they think it was just rage from somebody jealous, because there's 24 stab wounds, there's no sexual assault. So the murder was just purely out of rage. There was no sexual component to it. So that's sort of interesting. So maybe on the, I don't know if they can exhume him and see if they can find something. But man, how many cases have we seen where rain just messes things up? Yeah, I think it was Chin or somebody associated with Chin. Because let's say Chin was the one that liked him. Thought he had the most beautiful blue eyes ever, right? So if there's somebody jealous, then it wasn't him, it was one of his friends, right? So anyways, that's it for the Jacob McKnight case. Hopefully somehow it'll get solved one of these days. Maybe DNA will do it. Sounds like they're kind of out of options though. What they should do is find his clothing and then anything that was under his body, test those areas for some sort of DNA of it. So you guys here? So quiet again. All right, we're going to switch over now to, you're just barely typing anything. I'm going to switch over now to Crystal Rogers, though, okay? And let's just do the timeline article first. Well, that was the whole point of it, Mag. To get people, oh yeah. So here we go. This, for people who don't know anything about this case, this might be a good place to...
Disappearance of Crystal Rogers has been a mystery since 2015.
I'll just go from down here. Rogers was last seen alive, Crystal Rogers, on July 3rd, 2015. For 2 days, family and friends called and texted her, but were unable to reach her. They said it wasn't like Rogers to not respond, especially to her children. Crystal's mother, Sherry Ballard, filed a missing person report with law enforcement on July 5th, just 2 days after that. Shortly after that, another family member found Rogers' car abandoned. So, I mean, I have all this stuff. Hold on. So all of these pins in here are related to that case or ones people have associated. So she was found on the Bluegrass Highway, basically right here. Just her car was pulled over. Yeah, let's see if I'm right. So it says Parkway at mile marker 14. So let's see, I could see a mile marker, so let me back up a little bit. And look at that. See, we had it right. Mile marker 14. The maroon Chevy Impala had a flat tire with her keys, purse, and cell phone still inside. The Nelson County Sheriff's Office held a news conference the next day on Roger's disappearance. Officials said Brooks Houck, Roger's boyfriend, was the last person to see her alive when they were at his family farm the night of July 3rd. Sheriff Ed Mattingly. I mean, it's so crazy how this has just been lingering for so long. Sheriff Ed Mattingly at the time said that Houck was fully cooperating with the investigation. Roger's family also announced a $25,000 reward for information leading to her. We love her, and we're trying to find her, and we just don't, and we just want her to come home, Sherry Ballard said through tearful eyes. Let's see. Nearly every day since Rogers went missing, her father, Tommy Ballard, searched for her and even started his own investigation. So this is her dad. And let me show you what he looked like. So that's him right there in that picture. That guy. That's her father. And that's like after when she's missing, that's him, and that's Shelley right there. I mean Sherry, Jesus. Did I say Shelley? Sherry Ballard. Let's see. Last family farm of the night. We love her and we're trying to find her. We just want her to come home. So anyways, it says down here, Tommy Ballard searched for her and even started his own investigation. The community also stepped up in a big way with family and strangers from all over setting out to reach every inch of Nelson County and the surrounding area. We've searched the rivers, we've searched farm, houses, sinkholes, wells, and places she might be, family members, Sammy Johnson said. However, one person was always missing from the searches, and that was Brooks Houck, her boyfriend. If he truly loved my daughter, he would do anything to find her because we're doing anything, Sherry Ballard said. During the first 2 weeks of the searches, Houck was questioned by Nelson County Sheriff's Office lead detective John Snow. In the interview, Houck said that Rogers, their 2-year-old son Eli, and himself left the family farm at around midnight the night of July 3rd. He said when they got home, he went straight to bed. So let's see. Was questioned by it, and he said he went straight to bed, and Rogers stayed up playing games on her phone. So he's saying that Crystal was still awake playing video games on her phone. He told Snow that when he woke up on the morning of July 4th, lo and behold, Rogers wasn't there anymore. Wasn't even alarmed, Houck said during his police interview. Snow alerted Houck of gaps in his story, but Houck said he had nothing to do with Rogers' disappearance. Actually, I think if we read this here, we're going to jump into... Maybe we'll do the Brooks Houck interview first. But hey, you guys, if you'd like to help support the Gray Hughes Investigates channel and keep this month going here, that would be awesome. What are you talking about, Cindy? Jesus. Who are you talking to? My God. Yeah, so hey, thanks, Jessica Schubach. Oh, yeah. Hey, Miss C.D. Isaacs, I already have all that information. Thanks for just ruining it, though. Thanks, everybody. I'm gonna get rid of your comments, okay? Because you're really rude to come in. We haven't got to any of that stuff yet, okay? That was going to be part of the interrogation video. And instead, you jumped all over it so you could be the cool person to tell everybody what you knew. Okay, so anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to play that one, the interrogation, right now.
over here before we can.
So I made it so you could see his face a little bit clearer on there.
All right, that's all right. All right, I'm gonna take a minute here and read through your statement, if that's all right.
Yes.
He's just so
You
casual.
might have answered some of my questions already, so.
But I did, so I was trying to cover as much as I could. If my writing's not real legible, you just ask me and I can clarify it real quick for you.
Yeah, thanks, Cindy.
Okay.
I didn't know what she was talking
4
about.
o'clock, we're gonna say.
And I don't know these. I put approximately.
Yeah.
I just put 4.
Yeah, that's, I don't expect you to know exactly.
Yeah, no, there's no way for me to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of rude what you did there, Miss CD. But yeah.
Is this Friday? You ordered on the new construction on Friday?
Yeah, and I didn't put that order, but I put all that right there. The further you go, the more clarified I
Oh.
get.
Do you guys want to watch? We can watch this whole thing. I mean, it's only, well, it's an hour. Well, it's an hour and 43 minutes. So I don't know if you guys. I mean, the thing is that I know how it slows down in the chat and everything like that, with the super chats and everything when we do these long interrogations. So, you know, I'm kind of debating on if I did it, it would just be like an hour and 43 minutes of a video
I broke it
playing.
down into segments.
Oh, these
for you.
are the people whose house you were working on?
Yeah, all these right here are people that I'm overseeing, that I'm speaking or talking to. We'll just look at my phone to get my exact time.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. Since it was already sort of came in and somebody jumped again, I'm going to move it forward to the part, and then we'll go back and listen to it again, because it's only like a minute or something. All right. Yeah, there you go. Right here. So then later we'll figure out what it was about.
Struggled with it, you know.
Yeah.
I know that. But the way that I look at it is, I'm innocent.
Oh, that's the brother. I thought I had it at one. There it is. Is that-
Numbering, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. It's at 120. Right in this area.
As far as you know, you all did not have plans for a babysitter that night.
No, absolutely no.
The plan was all along for you guys to go to the farm.
Yes.
Okay.
How come you keep typing in over and over? She said you need to know, Cindy. I already know all this stuff. It was in various articles that were out there. Thanks, Kit Kat. Freak wave. Hey, a Kit Kat ice cream bar today.
Numbering, right?
Or check contacts or however you.
Some more work with your little skid steer and so forth. Mine still broke down.
Yeah, right here.
Numbering, right?
Or check contacts or however you do it to see who it is. Yeah.
See, this phone call here seems to me like it's completely planned. Like he said, hey, listen, this is what our story is. I'm going to call you later. And I always thought that even before, just because of the way it's worded and things that he said. What?
1990. Just call it. Oh, Steve Lawson.
Okay. Who is Steve Lawson?
He's somebody that works for me.
Thanks for what? Well, thanks for what, eh? What did you do?
Hey, Steve. Hey, I can't hear you real good.
Oh, yeah, let me check. I think you said, hold on, let me look. Hold on a second. I don't know. You might have said you sent a PayPal. I don't have any PayPals today, so. All right, here we go.
I'm gonna ask you to speak up a little bit, okay?
Okay, sir.
Hey, I was wanting to know. Hey, I've got some things going on next week. I'm gonna.
So he's not even telling the guy who's calling, hey, I'm at the police station. Because that would make, that's a weird thing not to say. And the reason he's not saying it is because he knows that it might look like he was tipping the guy off. But real people would say, hey, I'm over at the police. That is what you would do. But if you're overly conscious about what you're talking about, you wouldn't mention it to the person. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of a weird thing. So he calls this guy up.
Some more work with your little skid steer and so forth. Mine's still broke down.
Well, I said, get with me tomorrow. I'm coming. I know you have a hard time hearing me because it's where I'm located at.
All right.
So, just...
And this guy's name is Stephen Lawson. And Joseph L. Lawson, the guy that was just arrested, has a father named Stephen Lawson. So it just sort of seems like there's a good chance that it's the same person.
Touch will be tomorrow, and we'll see what we can do. But I just want to tell you, I'm sorry about everything that's going on in your life, brother, and I got you in my prayers.
I said it is very difficult and trying.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Hey, I feel really bad for all the things that are going on in your life and everything. See, the whole conversation is just really strange to me. Because then in a minute, he doesn't even remember what Crystal's name was, the guy that was talking.
Time, but I appreciate you you saying that. But hey, I need your help while I got you on the phone here. Do you remember the other night you called me really late, and I forgot what you asked me. Can you? I guess it wasn't on the phone. I might have been tired. I know it was pretty late at night. Can you remember what you asked me or what you were after? I can't remember.
Yes, sir, I can. I called that.
Yeah, what's going on here is they had a conversation. This is the alibi. They're going to question me about, and your name might be brought up. So here's what we need to say. Okay? So you'll know when I call you and I ask you about what our phone call was about, this is what we need to say it was. Okay? That's what this is, just really obvious.
For them numbers for our house.
Oh, for a rental house.
Yes, sir.
And what did I forgot? What did I tell you?
You told me that you would call, what's her name, Katie or whatever, she handles all that.
Crystal.
Yeah, I mean, a minute ago he says, hey, sorry for what you're all going through. And then a minute ago he doesn't, then a minute later he doesn't even remember that his wife's name is Crystal, the one that he's going through all this stuff about.
Crystal, okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
And, she said she handles all that, and that you would get back with me on it.
All right. Thank you so much, Neil.
Hey, if there's anything I can do, you give me a call.
Thank you. You have a good night now.
Yes, sir. God bless you.
Thank you.
I don't know, just such a strange, weird call, you know. And then look at his face after this. Watch this comment. Watch. Look at him like, hey, see? Nailed it. Look at his smug-ass face there. Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
So that begs a question in my mind.
All right.
If she's in the truck next to you when he called, why would you need to call her about getting numbers for rental property?
Yeah, it's weird how he always has a really quick answer, but what a great question by that detective there.
Being that way that night we're headed to the house.
Anyways, I'm going to just rewind it now and play it, okay?
I just called, try to get over him before he comes in here. He's not answering his phone yet, so he must still be in the middle of it.
All right, that's all right.
All right, I'm going to take a minute here and read through your statement, if that's all right.
Yes.
Get an idea. You might have answered some of my questions already, so.
But I did, I was trying to cover as much as I could. If my writing's not real legible, you just ask me and I can clarify it real quick for you.
Okay.
This guy reminds me of...
4 o'clock, Bluegrass Center.
Yeah, what's the name of it? Hold on. DJ Ficky case, the way that the one guy talked, you know what a quarter horse is? The same just total crap comments.
But I don't know these. I put approximately. I just put 4.
Yeah, it's, I don't expect you to know exactly.
Yeah, no, there's no
Or
way
quarter
for me
door
to-
is what I have to say. You know what a quarter door is?
Is this Friday? You ordered on the new construction on Friday?
Yeah, and I didn't put that order, but I put all that right there. The further you go, the more clarified I get. I broke it down into segments.
Oh, these are the people whose house you were working on?
Yeah, all these right here are people that I'm overseeing, that I'm speaking or talking to. We'll just look at my phone to get my exact time. I got my phone in there, and that way you can build a timeline of all this stuff that I do this every day. So looking back, I had to know what time it is. And
Right.
There's no way for me to remember that. I mean, you'll see the more that you get to looking through there, you'll see how much I've got in my head to try to keep up with. All these are guys that are working.
Oh yeah, yeah. I thank you for the PayPal from McDonald's a couple days ago. I thought you were talking about today's show.
For me that helped me, every one of them.
Okay.
And then these right here, I skipped a line to break that and put locations, and then I did it in subdivision, so y'all know where my vehicle, y'all know where I'm at, my phone and everything. Those are the numerical address, the street address, and this is the type of work that I've got going on past that hyphen mark. Those are the type of work I've got going on at each construction site. Every one of them is a separate job. And then this right here is for the whole subdivision. Keep the Woodlawn Springs homeowner subdivision, the president, and all the members, the committee and stuff. All I want to keep the subdivision looking nice, trash and debris and all that kind of stuff. The metal grates in the road, the curb and gutter, and all of that. And this is just kind of like a daily thing. I've got to go through this every day to keep everybody rolling and everybody happy. And this switches subdivisions. You see I put copper fields up here, and then these are the number of houses I got going out there. I've got different subs in different spots.
Sorry, that thing will go off pretty
That's
constantly.
fine. That's
I've got people all over the county, so.
All right. Nobody else will write on that though, correct?
No, and I'm gonna make you a copy to show you.
I want to be sure that nobody else, messes with none of my stuff.
Right, right. No, you're gonna get a copy of it so that you can look at mine and look at yours and say they're the exact same thing.
All right.
In fact, I'll do it right now. I better do it at full page every time I run it up there. These recycled tablets ain't the best. Give me just a second, I'll bring it right back. Take a minute, go through those page by page and compare them just to make sure that everything's good to go on them.
Looks good to me.
He does the 2 pages at a time, you know.
I'll take the original if you'll keep the copy, and that way we'll both have a copy. Alright, I'll put this in the file.
Hey, thanks, Bama Forever, and have a good sleep. All right, thank you very much. But yes, everybody, we're going to be doing an hour and 43 minutes of this. Or no, hour and 39 now. So if you'd like to, keep in mind helping support the channel during this. And I got to tell you something. You remember last night? Let me do this before. And it's really important because it helps support me, allows me to do the show. But then we currently have 13 DNA cases that we are funding. And last night's show, let me open up that database again. You won't believe it, but right here it says this one was not enough DNA and exhumation right there. Well, I just got an email today from Misty and Colleen that said that they're doing a mass exhumation of a whole bunch of unidentified bodies, and they're adding this one into that. So, boom, another one will be not red anymore. They're going to get the femur in this case, and hopefully they'll get a good DNA sample from that. So what do you think of that, huh? And so the channel relies completely on you guys. So you could just pretend you're at Starbucks and you just got a nice cup of coffee, and if you can do more than that, that'd be great. But if not, then it just is what it is. Okay, anyways, here we go. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. They just told me today. It was awesome.
So we're obviously we're hearing tons and tons of rumors, right?
All right.
And I know Bardstown is the rumor mill of the world, but in a case like this, should it turn into a homicide investigation, any question that I didn't ask doesn't get asked. Does that make sense?
I don't understand what you're saying, but
well, if I don't ask you, then somebody's going to ask me why I didn't ask you later. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So when I ask you a question, it's not to be offensive; it's to get the question cleared up so that we can move on to another.
I understand. Yeah.
And thank you, Princess Pillow.
One of the rumors that we're hearing is that you all had gotten notice from the IRS that you were being investigated for tax evasion. Is that correct or incorrect?
No, sir.
Not correct. Okay. And again, these are all rumors that people are calling in about.
That's fine. And where you can get a legitimate source, also about verifying everything. Right across the street here, up here at Gilbert Brown Company CPAs does my taxes. He has for several years. If I need to sign a form to release all his documentation on me for that, you're all more than welcome to it. And that's the easiest way for me.
These are
That's fine.
rumors.
Ask whatever you got to ask.
Had you and Crystal ever talked about breaking up?
I mean, obviously we have fought just like any other
Sure.
any other couple, but in the last several years, I mean, it's came up. But we've always found ourselves together moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's mentioned, but it's never
Together,
happened.
moving
We've
forward.
always found ourselves together moving forward.
Okay.
Hmm.
I know.
That's interesting. Now that you repeated it twice, together moving forward seemed like it was it was kind of an odd choice of words. And then you said it again. Almost like you'd sat around with somebody and you said, hey, just say we're together moving forward. Just make sure that you say that, because that means you're together and things are progressing. So then he said it a second time. Isn't that just weird? See, things like that are what are weird to me. Little things that aren't even just sort of normal. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But
She did some babysitting there at the house for some extra money.
thank you,
One
Gwendolyn
was
B. How's it
about
going?
my size, and
How's
other
school
was-
going out there?
I don't know how old, but he was a little bit older. And I don't know how long, if it was 8 months or a year, but she had worked at the store up the road from our house for the,
Hi, Ray. I'm just checking in.
I don't want
Glad to see you in a
by the way, doesn't it feel cool to do? Yeah, isn't that amazing, Gwendolyn? Isn't it cool just to do sort of a normal-ish show tonight? I miss doing them,
say anything discriminatory. I don't want to say if they're not Americans, but they own.
They're Indians.
All right, yeah. I don't want to say nothing that's
convenience store.
Yeah, convenience store. She worked for some folks up there. I do not know that. I think it might be Sandy or Sandeep or something like that. But I
You're
don't
done.
know.
Sweet.
She worked up there at that gas station for quite some time, but that's been quite some time ago.
Was that before or after Eli was born?
I think she started there before he was born, and she did work some there after he was born. She worked for a pretty good period of time there, but it's been quite some time back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's 2.5. So did you think
He's a little bit over than 2.5.
Well, yeah.
He'll be 3 in October.
almost 3? Yeah.
All right.
So you think it was a year ago or better since she worked there?
Probably approximately. I don't know. I would say give or take a 6-month window there. Something like that would probably be pretty accurate. But I do not know the answer to that. I do not know. I just know that it's been a period of time.
Was it you all? Have you all, since you've lived together, have you all always lived on Glenview?
That's the only house since Eli has been born. We brought him home from the hospital. We lived there.
Okay.
Yes.
So
That's the only residence.
you all were living there when she was working at the, and when she stopped working at the.
When she stopped, yes, when she stopped working there. There was, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 other girls that worked up there with her. I don't know their names. They didn't have a large amount of employees, just a few.
When you said you all had, talk about splitting up, had that been more recently, or was that before Eli was born, or had that been?
I don't remember the exact dates, but if you'll recall back in a couple of days ago when we had talked, whenever usually that had came up, she had always went to like Sabrina's house, or she went out with Brooke or to her parents for a short period of time, a day and a half, and after she cooled off, and we had a chance to talk a little bit, we always found ourselves back together. But it has been at times a stressful relationship. I'm not here telling you anything other than that. Sure. That is the truth, and that's accurate. Yeah. That has been discussed, but we've always found ourselves together. We loved each other very much, and that right there is the bottom end.
Oh, very cool, Glenn.
Well, the reason I ask is because there are some people that she's associated with that are telling us that she had made some tentative plans to leave, like looking at an apartment at that store above the apartment above the store. I'm just trying to figure out if that was something that was ancient history or if that was something that was more recent.
Well, that's news to me. I don't know anything about that.
So when you all, let's say the last time you all had discussed splitting up, she didn't discuss any specifics with you about moving to an apartment or anything like that? Just that you all were having some issues and you resolved it?
Say all that again. Yeah. Break your question. Break them down.
The last time that you all had that type of a disagreement, okay? The last time that there was the possibility that you might split up, did she specifically talk to you about moving out somewhere?
No, not anything that she's never had an isolated point saying, "Hey, I'm moving here, moving there." I don't recall anything like that.
Okay,
no, sir.
That was my question.
All right.
Just if she had.
Well, sometimes I know that you all do this for a living. Sometimes I feel like when you ask me a question, you put so many things, and I'm thinking we need to dissect it a little bit so I can answer each part specifically rather than put so. And I'm not. Please don't get upset at me for saying that to you.
No.
Put so much stuff in one. I want to break it down in a simplified, direct question rather than put so much information into one question. Try to answer one and have a bunch of parts in one.
No, that's fine. If you need me to, that's fine. What you did right there is just fine.
All right, yeah, I just know what you did. Ask
it a different way, or ask
because I want you helping me.
No, that's
all right. That's all right.
That's fine. That's no problem at all. Let's see. We kind of already established the Kylie thing, but just so I'm clear on it.
All right.
You got home at somewhere between 5 and 5:30, probably closer to 5, right?
Yes, sir.
And Kylie was there?
I didn't go in the house at that time.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, I knew that whenever she was coming behind me, I knew that she was going to be there shortly. So what I did was I jumped on that little tractor. I knew I had a little bit of time, and I wanted to go up there and fill it up full of fuel, check, do all that kind of stuff, get my fuel levels right, so that I didn't have to stop. I've got, as you can tell when you look at that list, I got so much stuff to do. I don't have any unaccounted for time. I'm wide open. Right. If I stop for a few minutes, I go backwards, and I don't have time to do that.
So so you didn't go inside, so you don't know if she was there when you arrived?
I don't know if she was there. She was riding with Crystal. I do not know.
And when you got back from gassing up the tractor, they were all there. Her and Eli and Crystal.
All four, yes.
Yeah, okay. And so all four of you were there. So during that time, the neighbor said she got home around 5:15, give or take.
That's right.
So from 5:15 and I think I mentioned to you that I see on the video that you all go past Circle K. You go past the storage place and Circle K all within a minute or so, about 5 minutes after 7, thereabouts, give or take a minute.
All right.
So let's say you left the house around 7 o'clock. Fair enough?
That's fine.
There's going to be a little bit of time, but I'm just generalizing. So she gets home about 5:15. You get back from the store. You all are there from, let's say, 5:30 to 7 o'clock together, the 4 of you. You ate dinner at home, I think you told me last time.
Yeah, we didn't fix nothing. I don't know what we ate. We didn't fix nothing fancy.
Right. Sandwiches.
Whatever we
yeah.
did.
Yeah. You guys leave to go to the farm, but Kylie does not go with you.
That's correct.
She stays there waiting on
Her
Kathy.
Mamaw Kathy, her father's mother.
Yeah, Kathy Fenwick.
Yes.
Right. So she stays there. You don't know what time she gets picked up, but she's there when you all leave.
Yes.
Because that was one of the things, I think she got confused, Kylie, not Kathy. Kylie got confused about the time frames when I was talking.
But I can't speak on their.
Yeah, no, that's fine with that. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not confused.
All right. That's what you said is my understanding of it.
Okay. So you guys leave, you go, presumably you go out Bloomfield Road to Guthrie because you go past Circle K and not turning on Woodlawn Road. So you go out there, and then the next time I see you is when you pass Caddy Shack, the little restaurant there on 49. You go past there, and it's about the right amount of time for you to be traveling, you know. And then you get to the farm around, best I can figure out by the time frame on the video, is about 19 minutes after 7. So you're actually there, you know, roughly about 7:20. So
Okay.
so you get there. By the way, I twisted I guess it would be your aunt's arm to. So we noticed they had the video cameras. That's why.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good.
So she actually helped you out with the time.
Good.
It showed you coming. Now I haven't watched the full days yet, so I don't know
Right.
anything about comings and goings. But I know you got there about 20 minutes after, and you left there about 11:55 thereabouts.
Right.
So during that time, from reading your statement, you left once and went down almost to Loretta Road and then turned around and came back because you decided the Tractor Supply might be closed, right?
Yes.
So that, a little bit of time there. How long were you at the farm before you went to get feed and then came back, decided that it was too late? Do you remember, roundabout?
It couldn't have been long.
Because you were going to feed the cows, right?
Yeah, it couldn't have been probably more than, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay. I'm just trying to get an idea so when I watch the video, I can kind of look for when you're coming out and then you're going back in.
Yes.
And when you got to the farm, do you know if anybody was there other than your mom?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you see your mom when you came in?
No, we didn't. We didn't stop up there. We went straight down there. We were going there to feed the cows.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, but the barn's within eyeshot of the house.
But sometimes she might park inside. Sometimes she might not. So I don't know if.
Right. She got more than one vehicle.
She's got a little red truck, and she's got a white, and then she's got a white SUV.
Oh, okay.
But I can't. That 15 to 20 minutes is as close as I can, and that's a guess. But I'd say it's pretty accurate.
She, I think your mom told me she had been mowing grass. Do you know if she was mowing when you got there, or
she's always outside doing something? She's more of an outside person than inside, but she likes to mow grass. Sometimes she'll mow it whenever it don't even need to be mowed. So. But no, I don't recall her mowing if she was mowing. But there's a lot of area there that if she was mowing, that I could have pulled in and not seen her. But I don't believe she was mowing.
Yeah. Okay. And it's not all that important. I'm just trying to get an idea of what was going on.
All right.
So there, I noticed when I was out there yesterday, I guess it was. So there's a bulldozer in the drive. There's a tractor, actually 2 tractors in the barn, right? There's a tractor with a bucket and a tractor that looked like maybe it was leaking hydraulic fluid. Maybe somebody
or
had
an
worked on it
attachment,
something.
or
yeah, maybe an attachment.
All right.
So while you were out there Friday, did you operate any of that equipment to take care of the cows, or how do you normally? Is that something
I
you do
don't.
by hand?
No, when you feed the cows, you just get the sweet feed and you holler for them, you shake a bucket, and they, because repetitious, they know to
Sure.
run. They know.
I didn't know if you fed them hay.
Now, if you're talking about in the wintertime, you have to have a tractor that can handle, we don't do square hay. I mean, in the wintertime, we're going to have to handle a round bale.
Right.
And that's done by tractor. We're not going to, you can roll one by hand, you got 4 or 5 guys, but I mean, we're not going to do that. We're going to take a tractor and.
Right, but I'm talking about Friday. You didn't operate anything
No.
Friday. Okay. So you just fed them out of the bucket, the sweet
Yes.
feed. And,
Now, Aaron probably, he's out there raking hay and stuff. He might very well have done that. I don't know if it was Friday, but he's been out there the past 2 weeks doing hay. And I don't drive the equipment because that's not what I do. Aaron takes care of all that, and he bales the hay, he cuts it, he does all the mechanical work out there. And
now, who is Aaron?
the person that does all the work out there.
But I mean, is he related to you all, or is he a farmhand, or what is he?
Yeah, he's the city mechanic right up here for the city of Bardstown, the bus garage. He does all the mechanics and does all the inspection reports for the city of Bardstown bus school system.
Right, but how is he connected to your family?
There's no blood relation. We graduated together in high school.
You and he did?
Yes.
Okay, and so does he get the hay off of your farm, or?
5 of the cows out there that are out there are his.
Oh, okay.
So what he does is, whenever you look at this paperwork, I've got so much stuff going on, I'm not a farmer. I enjoy farming, but I don't farm. So what he does is an added benefit to me. He takes care of all the fencing, all the labor, keeps the equipment running. If it's round bales or busting ice and stuff like that in the wintertime, he does all that. He's got the time. He gets off early at 3 o'clock in the day. So he will come out there, and he knows about the mechanics. I'm not a mechanic, so he'll go out there and cut all the hay and prepare for the winter. Gotcha. He uses his time to do all that, to use the grounds out there for his cows, because he's only got about 7 acres here in town, and he wants to keep growing and expanding. And a way to do that, I don't have time to bush hog and all that, so I would rather keep up with the grounds by letting somebody do that and participate and let them. I don't charge him no money.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Right.
So
but he keeps his cows out there.
Yes, it's a good trade-off.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Okay. But he wasn't there Friday. That you saw.
No, he wasn't there Friday night.
When you were there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not before. I don't know about before, but when you were there, he wasn't there. So you all fed the cows with the bucket and watched them eat, and then you walked. Now, when you said you walked the road to the grab, you're talking about not just to the turnaround that goes right to the barn.
We walked to the back.
To where the old county road goes through.
Where I put yes, exactly. Okay. Where the road gets a little harder. I mean, you can still drive a car on it, but there's a little bit of grass in the middle. But we.
And that's what goes when you get to
cul-de-sac at the top of the hill.
Right. If you get to the turnaround here, this
the house is right here in the barn
here. It goes
right here is where and then it goes back there a far pin. And there's 3 big pins back through there. There's 3 separate fields where we rotate the pasture and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. And you said you walked from field 1?
Yeah, let me just make it real clear for you. Is this? Can you can put this in your paperwork or whatever?
Yeah, whatever.
I didn't write that, but
no, I drew it out for somebody else.
And then, of course, the fence does something like this.
Right, kind of gives an angle off Mom's place.
And then it goes all the way back. So somewhere right in here, this is a double gate. This is where we go in. Right here is where we enter the field, because this is barbed wire, And then over here is kind of an octagon's 8, but it ain't 8. This is like a
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, a few days ago I got an update on the Johannes Kedane, the student that they found his cell phone and everything by the San Francisco Golden State Bridge. and everything. Well, they found his body floating in the water, and that it was a suicide, just as we thought was most likely the case.
A pin out here that we can move, and then there's some trolls and stuff in here. And then I think right here, that field separates pretty, and then there's a gate, another gate right here. So this is number 1, and then way up here, this is number 2, and then number 3 goes a far piece back through there. Right. So we go through this gate, and then the gate from 2 to 3, you know, the other gate's up here.
Right.
You know what I'm?
Yeah.
And then there's more food in field number 3 than there are on these other 2, because these 2 are 8 down close. So a lot of times, and it's cooler back there in them ravines and hollers for the cows than if they're on this flat land, and they would rather stay cooler and eat back there. And there ain't a big pond back there, but there's a little pond for them for a water supply too right now. So more often than not, they go back there in that third field, but like in later in the evening, a lot of times we're consistent at the times, but sometimes we're not. But a lot of times in the evening, they'll drift up here thinking they're going to get some feed.
Right. For the sweet feed. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you all, when you all went for the cows, though, I think
we went in this gate right here, and then we walked all the way back through there.
So because they weren't up in field 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he unalived himself. Sorry, everybody.
So okay, so you fed the cows. What else did I read there? Sorry. I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff over there.
And no, I don't want people using that term on this channel, okay?
You fed the cows, and then you come back out and you walked the road, right? The road that goes to the...
Yeah, after we come back out from walking up through here, then we walk out to here, there's another... Did I see your pin again?
Mm-hmm.
So there's another, it ain't exactly straight, but it looks something like this.
That's the driveway?
Yeah, this driveway to the barn.
Right.
And then we walk out the road and we just walk back through there.
Okay. And how long would you say that road goes back into there? Do you know? If you had to guess.
I don't know. I bet it's a good mile.
From
right
the
here.
barn to the end of that road and back. So a couple mile walk going to and from.
Yeah, if you go, because there's a cul-de-sac right here. There's also a cul-de-sac I put in up here, and then there's a third cul-de-sac at the very end, by a creek back there in the very back.
Oh, okay. Okay. But you think it's about a mile, maybe?
I would say
a little
close,
less?
yeah.
Okay. So you walked to the end of there and came back. Did y'all do any work on the barn or anything while you were there?
No, we didn't do no work on the barn.
Didn't work on the driveway or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
The dozer, the reason I ask is because the dozer that's sitting there, did somebody use that to put that driveway in or put rock on that driveway recently? Or
No, on Saturday I moved it over there. It was parked. That dozer, I've got a skid steer also broke down.
Right.
I've got a skid steer right here with some weeds growing up around it.
Yeah.
And then I had a dozer. A dozer right here, and I did, I backed it right across here, right here, and there's been a water coming in the front. There's a big door right here in the front of the barn, and water had been going in the front of it right here. And then I moved, and I wanted to. She's always complaining about, my mother is always complaining about the trash and rubble that she likes to keep everything neat and clean. She likes to keep the grass mowed short, but I'm not going to pay a high bill to take that stuff.
So I'll tell you what, freaks. If we get to 350 again, I'll donate another 5 channel memberships out there. Okay, so if we get to the 350, that's what we'll do. But as you can see, every time we do these interrogations or interviews, it just goes.
Up to the county dump when I can clean it up easy. It's too much to do all at once, but I can, every time I come out there, I can throw a match on it or burn a little pile. Eli likes to roast marshmallows, so what I do, and we spend so much time out there, what I do is put a pile and I'll light a little piece of it on fire. Mm-hmm. And then that way I don't have a huge fire, but I've got enough that I'm constantly getting rid of some, and then they won't charge me that high density fee out there at the dump. So I'm going to take all this equipment, this skid steer too. I just hadn't drug it over there yet, and then all these trailers where the weeds are high, I'm going to try to get it on both sides of these doors, just to get it out of there.
Did you burn anything Friday night when you were out there?
Yeah, yes, it's not uncomfortable. I don't want the stuff piling up to the moon. I always light a fire. There was a little pile, probably, I'll write that on there. Right here with this little pile here. I think y'all may have covered it up. Y'all got out there.
I think we did.
Slung stuff everywhere, but
yeah, I apologize. That
it don't matter.
Well, the dog, that lady's dog, she said acted like there was something under there.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. So I had a water problem right there, and I'm in the process of getting that right there fixed. We dug out right there in front of that door to try to let a vein of water come out because it's too low. The slab is.
And that was Saturday.
That was Saturday when I did that.
Do you remember what time Saturday you got out there?
Mm-mm.
Was you before lunch, after lunch?
Oh yeah, it was well before lunch. It wasn't. It was morning time, but it wasn't early morning. It wasn't late morning. It was about mid morning.
So you had a little fire. When was that? After you took your walk or before you took your walk?
I lit it. I don't know if I lit it right before we took off walking. I know we fed the cows first because I want to do that as quickly while we had still plenty of daylight. I don't know if I lit the fire before we walked back here or right when I got back. I could have done it either one. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. So you lit the fire. I'm assuming then you probably don't leave until the fire burns out. Would you leave it burning? I don't know. I generally don't like to walk away.
Yeah, but if it's just a bed of coals,
I mean, it's not like burning.
I wouldn't leave if I thought there was any danger. Not when especially when I got all this equipment and barn and stuff right there. But I mean, if it's died down and it's just a big bed of coals, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
So especially if it's not in August or September when everything's just perfectly dry. It wasn't.
Had plenty of rain.
Yeah, and the ground's wet and dew's on. Yeah, it's not a big deal. To me, I'm not a firefighter, so.
But you definitely moved the dozer on Saturday.
Yeah, I moved the dozer on Saturday.
Is there a septic system with that barn?
There is.
Okay.
It's never been hooked up. There's never been a toilet put on there. But I tell you who put it in there. And he can tell you exactly how 100% it was done. Is Casey Ballard.
Casey Ballard did it?
Mm-hmm.
And Casey Ballard, is that her?
That's her brother.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. So he put the septic, is there like an opening somewhere where you can access it?
Oh, yeah.
Maintenance and whatnot?
Mm-hmm.
Where would that be at?
There's a big pole out in the middle of this, in field number 1 right here.
Uh-huh.
There's a great big pole like this right here.
Uh-huh.
That marks the end of it. It's got one big lateral, big pipe on it, and it's marked out there so someone don't crush it with a tractor.
So the opening for the top of the septic tank?
No, the top,
you're talking about the lateral line?
Yeah, that just daylights out.
Right.
There's a big, underneath that, right where this fence is right there,
Uh-huh.
there's a big round lid right here.
Okay. Next to fence for field 1.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And how long has that septic system been there? I noticed the work
Probably
kind of ongoing.
Probably about 3 years,
3
years. I just never did finish that barn, because I've had so much other stuff going on. But in that barn, I've kind of got a little.
Yeah, I saw where you were putting the cedar plant.
I never got done with it, but I'm close to getting it done. I just never made it that far.
Right.
But yeah, the right where that little plumbing, that little bathroom is, right on the outside of the barn. There's a big a septic tank right there, and then there's a great big long piece of pipe right here, a bleeder valve, and then it's marked by there's a big pipe. There's an iron T-post out in the middle of this field, and then I took a piece of PVC pipe that's weather resistant, and I just slid over top. It would stop the post from rusting, and it's also much taller than the grass, so that if the grass did get up real high, somebody wouldn't hit it with a bush hog, or wouldn't hit it with a mower or something like that.
All right, so you guys you've taken your walk. The fire is down, maybe not out, but it's down enough, and you're leaving. And it looks, again, looking at the video, looks like it's about 5 minutes till midnight.
All right.
That's to me, and I've got a couple of kids, but everybody parents a little differently. To me, it seems a little late to be out on the farm with a 2.5-year-old. Where is he at midnight? Has he been asleep in the car for a while? Is he still
he's still wide open, and he'll.
Really?
And any night he's so used to sleeping so later in the morning. His normal day, that's his 7, 8 o'clock in the evening.
Really?
11, because she sleeps much later in the morning. She stays up. So and it's always been that way.
So he's good to go at midnight.
He's wide open.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys get back and load up in the truck. Load up in the truck, and you drive back. You leave out. I see you leave out the driveway at about 11:55. Somebody passes you on the drive back on Loretta Road about 10 minutes after midnight or so. He says, roughly, we're still kind of narrowing that down, but roughly sees you about 10 after midnight, which wouldn't be uncommon. It's been raining most of the day. The roads are kind of wet. 15 minutes from your mom's house to the golf course. There's Caddyshack. Not a big deal there. And so do you remember, or did you go straight home on Friday night, or did y'all stop somewhere? Or because I'm thinking if that's their normal 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, it might be dinner time. Did you stop and eat something, or did you go straight home?
We did not eat anything. I went straight home.
Okay, so you went straight home. So if we assume that he's correct in about 10 minutes after midnight, another 10 minutes to the house or so. So
I don't see it being that late. I mean, if that's what some of the things say, I guess you'd have to kind of go by that. But yeah, we didn't stop anywhere. We went straight home.
Okay. So you could feasibly be home by 11:30. You can be home.
I still like it.
Which is what you told me. You thought, or I'm sorry, not 11:30, 12:30. You could feasibly be home by 20 minutes after 12. If he passes you at 10 minutes after 12.
All right.
Which is a little off from what you originally told me, and you just said, I still think it's a little off, but we'll go with what the camera says as opposed to memory, because sometimes memory's not that great.
All right.
And I checked the time on her camera, and I'm allowing for about a 9-minute gap there between what my watch says and what her camera says.
All right.
So which puts you leaving there by 11:55, which, again, 15 minutes to Caddyshack is not terribly bad in the rain. So it could have been that he passed you at 10 minutes after midnight, putting you home roughly 20 minutes after 12.
All right.
Fair enough?
Yes.
So you guys get home 20 minutes after 12, right thereabouts. I think you said you went to bed first. Do you remember about how long you were home before you went to bed?
I went to bed immediately.
So when you guys got in, you went and did your nightly routine, and you're going to bed. I think you told me that she stayed up, and Eli, did he stay up as well?
He was.
And where was she at when?
If there's any activity going on in the house, he doesn't want to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody turn the lights out and we just go out in the bed, he's going to follow us in there and lay down with us. But if I go to bed and she stays up, he's not going to come in there to bed till all the lights are out and then she goes to bed. If I was doing something out there and she was in the bed, he's going to stay up with me until the lights are out until I go in there. Do you see what I'm...
Sure.
Yeah. So that's what
so he's going to stay up with Mom. Right. So, and before you went to bed, or any conversation? I know you told me that you all had a conversation Friday evening sometime about the kids. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you said you all talked about the kids Friday evening. Does that conversation bleed over to when you get home, or is that conversation done?
No, whenever I got home, I went to bed. I mean, it was relatively, quickly when I got in there.
Okay.
The conversation does not bleed over.
Okay. So you go to bed, she stays up. What's she doing?
She's just on her phone playing. I don't know what game, but she normally plays a game.
Right.
Some kind. She's got several of them on there, but I don't know which one.
Okay. So she's on her phone, messing around, doing whatever, and you go to bed. Do you know what time Eli came to bed, or she put him into bed?
I don't know. I
Don't have any idea.
Okay. I normally go to bed earlier than that, so when I went to sleep, I'm a pretty heavy sleeper. I wouldn't have noticed, if he crawled in there,
So you said you're a pretty heavy sleeper. So your phone is getting phone calls. I can see it on your phone logs before 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. Do you hear that going off? Do you normally keep it in there?
Yeah, but I don't have to. At that time, I've got an alarms on my phone at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Sometimes I've got them at 4 and at 7. But my alarm most mornings goes off. I always have it for 6 and 7. But I'll wake up before my alarm goes off. But yeah, it's not uncommon for me to get calls really early in the morning.
So what time do you think you got up on Saturday morning?
I probably woke up around, in between that time, like 6 or 7 o'clock, and then I left. I did my normal thing, changed my clothes, put my clothes on, and headed out. Shortly after that,
Well, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you something. There, on the phone records, there appears to be a phone call around midnight.
All right.
On Friday night, Saturday morning.
All right.
I'm talking about on your way home, basically.
All right.
Do you know who that person was that called you around midnight? Do you remember taking a phone call?
Can you just call the number back? I don't.
I mean, I could. I could.
What's
I
your
could
phone
look at
number?
your phone.
Yeah, look at my phone, but I don't remember
You
that.
don't remember getting a phone call on the way home?
Mm-mm.
Would it be unusual for you to get a phone call at midnight? I mean, it is for me, and I work for the sheriff's office. I get calls quite regularly. But
Some of the people that do the tile for me, I wouldn't put it past them to call me at any time. They lay brick through the day, and then their tile my house is at night. The Thomases I wrote on there, Derek and his brother Tyler Thomas, they'll call me at any time. And I've got even if it's just one day, I don't pay them people by the job. They got to get paid by the hour, and then when they get done with it, I pay them.
right.
That's just what we've agreed on. But yeah, those folks there call me any hour.
It was a pretty short phone conversation is the only reason I asked.
Mhm.
Kind of unusual to get a 13-second phone conversation at midnight. It is for me. It may not be for you. But,
All right.
We'll
check it out. Yeah,
we'll
check
look
it
at
out in
contacts
detail.
and
That's
see.
right.
So Saturday morning, you wake up sometime between 6 and 7. I think we decided that Danny Singleton, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
A guy that works for you, was calling you. He called you pretty frequently. You said sometimes you give him incentive to work on Saturdays,
Yeah.
and that may have been why he was calling you. So did you go do some work Saturday morning before you went to your mom's house? Before you went to the farm? Or what did you do Saturday morning?
No, I didn't do any other work on Saturday morning. That's where I went out there to the farm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what time I got out there, but that's what I had done.
Mm-hmm. So you get up between 6 and 7, and where's Eli at when you wake up?
He's next to me.
He's in the bed with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you get up. Does he get up with you?
He's still asleep
Still
whenever I get up, but I go to the bathroom and all that kind of stuff, and he's still sleeping there on the bed.
Mm-hmm. And so when you wake up, he's there, but Crystal's not.
She's not.
Okay. And so did you Did you try to call her, or?
Yes, I noticed that she wasn't there, and I didn't know exactly what to think. I don't know what time I called her. Yes, I called her that morning.
I mean, did you call her before you left the house to go to the
I don't
farm?
remember what time I called her.
But do you remember where you were at? Were you at home or were you at the farm? Or you were on the way to the farm? I don't know, somewhere in between.
I don't recall. I don't know.
That's fair enough. So you, before you go to the farm, you feed Eli breakfast?
I did not before we got there. I normally get those squeezable yogurts, got all them vitamins and minerals and stuff in it, and he likes to eat stuff like that for breakfast, and it's easy. He can do that in his car seat or whatever he's got to do.
Okay. So you think he was eating on the way to the farm?
I don't think he was. I know he was.
Okay.
Now, how much of the yogurt he ate, I don't know.
I'm not worried about that. It's not a question of what he ate or how much he ate. I'm just trying to establish.
Well, he's a healthy boy.
A
I can tell
pattern
you.
of behavior from that weekend, you know. And here's why. And I'll be honest with you. I have been all along. Will continue to be. If I woke up on a Saturday morning and my wife wasn't with me in the bed, as is normal, which might not be normal for you, I don't know, but for me, it would be normal, particularly if my wife's a late sleeper, which mine is as well on Saturdays, for her to be there in the bed when I get up. So if she were not, probably the first thing I would do would be to call her to find out where she was.
But what you're not aware, what you're missing is a lot of times that her and Brooke, her sister, or Sabrina, a lot of these girls that they do all these, they go out and do stuff. Sometimes they do these, and this is going to be embarrassing for me to talk to you about, but I'm wanting to get everything cleared up as quickly as I can. They do these fantasy parties. All these girls get together. They talk about and do whatever, and it's not uncommon for them, when they go out and party, they stay out the better part of the night, if not the whole night. So, and of course, I always have the children, during that. They don't take the kids to that. Matter of fact, I take care of some of their other children while they're the ones going. It's not uncommon because they know I don't get into all that stuff, and they know that I'm a man, don't get me wrong. Understand that, a white-blooded American male. And there's no sense, I'm not telling you anything different, but they do all these parties and order all this stuff. Well, who gets the kids? I'm good enough to get the kids for all this, and I'm a good enough person to do that. And then when everybody sees a little bit of distress, they're going to throw me under the bus. They need to re-examine all these other actions, how, and I can understand the family wanting to vent and stress, and it makes perfect sense to me. But these people know me better than what's going on. And before this is all over and done with, you all are too. But it bothers me because not only have I been a victim, my mind's not even where it should be, because I'm trying to protect Eli from this, and he's the most important person that I'm trying to protect. I don't care about them dragging my name through the mud right now, because I'm wanting to keep the main focus and emphasis on bringing her back safely and as quickly as possible. But it really bothers me what's being done in the method that everybody's pursuing and doing, because what's going to happen is I don't want their apology, I don't want nothing from them, but then after this is all said and done, they're going to sweep it under the rug, and then they're just going to forget about what they've done to me in the process. What I've got to be faced with now is, as good a mother as Crystal's been, now nobody's going to love you like a mother. Now Eli is in an atmosphere where I've got all the hope in the world, but now I'm a single parent, it appears to me, where she's been there 100% of the time for him, to raise and rear him, where I know that he didn't have to go to a daycare or a babysitter, and I know that his mother is going to take care of him. And now, where am I at without that love and support from her? Now I've got a little boy who's 2, who's going to grow up his life.
if something's not done where she's not brought back safely, now one of the very most important people in his life, he's got to grow up without.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm in here answering a bunch of bullshit that I'm doing the best that I can possibly do with, but it's taken a lot of energy and effort away from the other efforts that could be out there trying to help and bring her back here safely. I can't even go out on the side of the road without looking like a murderer or something like that. It's wrong. I've been extremely honest with you all, and now I'm up here doing all they can have the house. Y'all take anything that you want. You don't need any of that paperwork or search warrants. And now I'm up here trying to get my head where I can be on the side of being able to protect myself and defend myself for my son whenever I'm the one that's, I feel like, has the largest loss.
Yeah.
So well, do what you got to do. I'll do whatever I can, but this is starting to get silly. I don't need an attorney. I haven't asked for an attorney. I don't need none of that. I'm innocent. I'm willing to talk to whoever. But this to me is really starting to get silly, because I feel like, I don't have a Facebook page. I don't have time to get on the internet. I don't know a lot about computers. Crystal did all that for me. I didn't have to do it because that's something else that she always took care of. So now I have people coming back to me telling me that they're completely trashing me online for the whole media. You know, I've taken 17 years of my life, and I feel like I've worked hard to get a good education. I've worked hard all these years. I've built a nice life for me and my family, and now my whole family's name is trashed for something that's completely not even tied to me. That's where I'm at right now. So I'm extremely
I think it's weird how he's like complaining about, oh, my family's trash and everything, but he's not talking about where the hell is Crystal, you know? Like, he's concerned about how he's looking. I was hoping he was going to go, I mean, like, that sentence he just said would have been so much better if it was
completely trashing me online for the whole media. You know, I've taken 17 years of my life, and I feel like I've worked hard to get a good education. I've worked hard all these years. I've built a nice life.
And right here it would have been, and it's all gone because the woman of my dreams, or whatever the hell it is missing. But that's not what he says next.
For me and my family, and now my whole family's name is trashed for something that's completely not even tied to me.
Right. I mean, see what I'm saying? I mean, that's just a crazy answer.
That's where I'm at right now. So I'm extremely upset. I'm hurt over it. I try to put on a tough shell and a bubble and move forward. It's extremely difficult to get up in the morning and push on and look at Eli and know that here I've got a million things going on that I have to get done. And then who's going to suffer? He is. And it's not right. I'm ready to hire an auctioneer to sell all this stuff so I can be there for him like Chris. What else do you want to know?
Take me, it's all right.
No, it's
It's okay to be upset by it, I understand.
How you feeling?
It's okay to be upset at her family. They're
yeah, but they're emotional.
Thanks, everybody.
And I don't, if that's how they want to be in.
But you're allowed to be emotional too.
That's
okay.
fine.
You're
What they're mad about is the darn cell phone that I took away from Ashley because her mother told for me to take it away from her. That's what they're mad about. And it's just been a spiral since then in October. And ever since then, their attitude towards me and everything is so wrong. For punishing a 16-year-old girl when she's not hurt, she's not hit, nothing like that. And I'm the worst person in the world for having any, and I understand I'm not her dad, I'm not her disciplinary figure. When she disobeyed her mother, I followed a direct order. from her mother. Mother couldn't get it from her. I took a cell phone from her, and then it's just been hell ever since.
That was the whole thing about the wrist?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they took her up to the hospital and did the same with CPS and all this bunch of garbage. They ruled it unsubstantiated, or however they wanted to say it. No bearing, or whatever you want. You can pull the reports. They documented it all. You can get all that stuff too.
You want some water?
No, I'm good. Let's move forward. Whatever you need, I'm here to give to you.
Okay.
I'm innocent. I don't need an attorney, so I'm good. Ask whatever you want to ask.
Okay. Well, if we can just continue with the conversation, and I don't want to rush you. Take your time. I think we left off around about Saturday morning. So you guys got up, and she wasn't there. So you and Eli got ready and went to the farm. Did you go anywhere else before you went to the farm?
I didn't stop at McDonald's or nothing to get any kind of breakfast because he had that yogurt, that squeezable breakfast, whatever. I don't know, whatever. Some of them still in the refrigerator if you want one.
It's okay. It's fine. So you went to the farm, and was your mom there Saturday? Do you remember?
I didn't stop at the house up there either that morning.
What do you do with Eli while you're working on the equipment? Is he in the equipment with
I'm
you?
usually not the one that works on the equipment. Sometimes I might drive some of it, but yeah, if I get on that little tractor, he rides in my lap.
No, but I'm saying you said you worked on the driveway, on the drive in front of the barn there. So
Yeah, but no, he's got 5 or 6 tricycles and big wheels and stuff like that he plays on. It don't take a lot.
This isn't about your parenting skills. Don't misunderstand.
I understand, yeah, but
I'm not asking you about that, but you're working on the dozer. Is Eli in the dozer with you, or is he out playing in the yard?
I'm not really working on the dozer. He's got 5 or 6 of them tricycles and big wheels things that are at the barn. And if he's not out there with the cows or something, he rides them little toys around. We got them down there in the barn. We got them out there in the driveway. It don't take a lot to entertain him. A lot of times he pedals or does whatever he does.
Sure.
Yeah, so during this interview here, though, his brother, who is a police officer, calls him up and tells him, like, what the hell are you doing? Don't talk. Don't say anything, you know? Sometimes I actually wonder if it's like Nick and some other person did this knowing that Brooks didn't like her anyways. But, maybe it's possible. I don't know. I feel like he's totally involved. But sometimes I wonder if he doesn't have as much knowledge of what happened so that he can just come in here and... But when you think that the phone call that was made to that Steven or whatever the hell his name is, that seems totally set up and planned. So I don't know. It's weird. Nick is crazy.
But how long would you think that it took you to fix that area you said was taking on water there in front of the barn with the
No, I don't know. A lot of times on Saturday.
Thank you. You're Gypsy.
As a place to vent and
Getting down there.
What I call the city, not just like Bardstown, the city, but all the city stuff that goes on, loud music and all that. Out there, you hear crickets.
Yeah.
You don't hear a lot of people, so I go out there to a lot of times just to get away from the stress of all these tenants and stuff, calling these new construction contractors and stuff. It's a kind of a little vacation away from home.
Right, but you told me earlier that on Saturday you fixed the spot in front of the barn where the water was going in.
Yeah, if the water's not if it's not been like raining a solid week or whatever, you can't really tell if it hits and misses. Sometimes if we get a substantial amount of rain, you can kind of tell where problems are, and I could tell. So that's just what I did. Just piddle, just nothing important, just piddle.
Right, but would Eli normally be in the bulldozer with you while you're operating it, Was he in there
He's
with
been,
you while you were operating?
he's drove it, not that more there he wasn't. But yeah, I mean, he has been in, he's drove the bulldozer before. He's drove all the tractors out there before.
Okay. So that morning, did you say Mom was or wasn't home? You don't know?
I don't remember.
You don't know. Okay. So you don't know that he was out riding on his tricycles or whatever. When you said in the driveway, you mean the driveway for the that you're working on?
Say it again now?
You said you were working on the driveway in front of the barn with the dozer, right?
Yeah, we're down there by.
And you said he was probably riding on tricycles or something.
Yeah, I'm sure he was running on the concrete slab. It's easier for him to pedal on the slab than it is outside there, and I can see him better. My visibility's better if he's in there than out here.
Right. So he was here by the barn and not over by the house.
I think we should do the Nick Houck one tomorrow. What do you guys think? Maybe I'll do the Nick Houck one for the day show tomorrow. And I think he has two of them, right? Like one of them, and then he does one with the, what was it? The FBI polygraph test analyst guy. I mean, he was terrible, that guy. Okay. What do you guys think of that? Maybe we do that on the day show tomorrow.
No, he wasn't out of hell.
Gotcha. Okay. So you guys finish up whatever you're
maybe later that day or something. He might have went over there. The chickens might have come down there. He might have done something with them. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But it's not uncommon for him to, the chickens out there, they can be fast, but they're not scared of people because he plays with them so much. But you can catch them pretty easy. I mean, he treats them like a cat.
Mm-hmm. So you guys, any idea how long you were out there? Saturday?
It was a good, usually on Saturday I'm not in any kind of a rush because I try to take, I usually try to take it easy on Saturday.
Okay. So did you eat lunch out there?
I don't know if I ate lunch there. I know I ate supper out there at Fabian's house that night because he had everybody over there at his house for, there's about, I don't know, maybe 150 people over there at my mom's brother's house. Mm-hmm. We went out there for a short while. It wasn't real long. I know I ate there. Eli ate there. I don't know what we did for lunch. I can't remember.
Okay. Did you go from the farm to Fabian's, or
I don't know if I took I may have went home and taken a shower from being out there on the farm. I don't want to go there smelling like a bunch of cows.
Sure.
I may have went home. I'm not sure. I don't know. I may have went home and took a shower and then came back. That's more than likely what I did, but I can't remember.
Okay. So then sometime Saturday evening, you went over to Fabian's house. Do you remember around about what time that was? That would have been 4th of July.
Yeah, that's when we were supposed to go to that.
Mm-hmm. Did you all stay out there for fireworks, or?
We didn't stay that late. I know that there was a bunch of people there that I hadn't seen in a good while. That my mom's got a pretty large family that I hadn't seen that I wanted to see them, but we didn't stay out there real late.
Any idea how many times you've called Crystal at this point? By the time you went from getting up Saturday morning until you were going to the family gathering?
I know I called her back around maybe noon again the second time, and I don't know what the exact time I called her after that, but I know that sometimes in the past, if I called her and blow her phone up, it made it worse. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I've just called periodically, and I found that she doesn't take as much offense to that. If you're just disrespectful to them, especially if somebody's mad, it just makes it worse to keep calling them. I wasn't even alarmed. I was for sure the girls were doing this to me on purpose. Brooke and Sabrina and them.
So while you're at the family gathering, at Fabian's house. Anybody ask you where Crystal was?
Mm-mm. She hadn't went out there to Fabian's house a whole lot. Some of them people knew her, some of them people out there wouldn't have known her, but right then I don't
Not
remember.
really a big deal for them.
No, and it's something that those people there we see once every, sometimes every few years. So a lot of them people really hadn't. Some of them have seen her, and a lot of them have not seen her.
Mhm.
You know, haven't met her.
Sure.
So like I
So
said, it was a substantial amount of people.
you're out there. You said did you say you didn't stay for fireworks?
No, we didn't stay that late.
So you and Eli leave before dark.
Mhm.
But that's usually when people set off fireworks on 4th of July. And do you go home? You go to somebody else's house?
And that was on Saturday.
Yep, that was Saturday. You go to mom's? Where do you go after you leave there?
See, this is where I was just like, wow, look at how long this pause is right here to that question. This is almost like what you saw Mitch McConnell do the other day. I mean, I do have it on pause, but he just sits here. Look at this. Watch this.
Especially if somebody's mad, it just makes it worse.
I remember this one. It's crazy.
I wasn't even alarmed.
I'm going to play that again.
I was for sure the girls were doing this to me on purpose. Brooke and Sabrina and them.
So while you're at the family gathering at Fabian's house, anybody ask you where Crystal was?
Mm-mm. She hadn't went out there to Fabian's house a whole lot. Some of them people knew her, some of them people out there wouldn't have known her, but right then I don't
Not
remember.
really a big deal for them.
No, and it's something that those people there we see once every, sometimes every few years. So a lot of them people really hadn't. Some of them have seen her, and a lot of them have not seen her.
Mhm.
You know, haven't met her.
Sure.
So like I
So
said, it was a substantial amount of people.
you're out there. You said did you say you didn't stay for fireworks?
No, we didn't stay that late.
So you and Eli leave before dark.
Mhm.
But that's usually when people set off fireworks on 4th of July. And do you go home? You go to somebody else's house?
And that was on Saturday.
Yeah, that was Saturday. Do you go to mom's? Where do you go after you leave there?
Look at this. Look how weird this is, man.
No, I think we rode with my mother over there.
To Fabian's house?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we rode with her, and then I went home after that.
So you rode back to mom's house with her, and then you didn't stay at mom's. You went back to your house.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know the exact timing and all that right there, but I do know that I rode with her over there to Fabian's house.
Okay. And you left her house and went home.
I don't know if I stayed there any period of time or not. I may have stayed there just a little bit. I don't think very much, but I might have stayed there a little bit. I'm not sure.
I mean, you didn't stay the night there.
No.
Did you go anywhere else after you left mom's house before you went home?
Not that I can remember.
Okay.
I tell you what would be a good idea for folks is to put a darn camera. You think I'm joking? I'm being serious. You try to go back through this. I need to put a camera in your vehicle and up there in front of you. Just live on tape, and then you.
Well, I'm not asking you to recall every detail of your life, brother. But I'm just trying to.
But it would help me if I could.
Well, but listen, I couldn't tell you what I did 2 days ago. I couldn't tell you what I did before I started investigating this because I've been investigating this for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm not asking you to remember every single minute, but you know, and I realized that it wasn't a big deal for her to be gone for you, but you know, most people can remember, you know, most of the things they did during the day, not every single minute, but you remember going to Fabian's house, you remember leaving Fabian's house, going to mom's, right, and going. So if you went from mom's house to home, you'd eaten dinner at Fabian's.
I don't know if it was her mother. I met her mother at the gas station somewhere. One of them days.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother, Sherry,
Mm-hmm.
Crystal's mother, Sherry, and I don't know if Ashley was with her and other kids were with them, but I stopped at right there in front of Walmart, where I get a bunch of fuel at, up right there, that Murphy station across from Lowe's right there.
Right.
And I was on the phone with either Ashley or Sherry, one, I forgot which, and they said, I tell you what I've done too, I talked to Brooke on the phone at the farm. I talked to Brooke, her younger sister, before I left, because I was heading into town to get fuel at that point. So whatever time that I talked to Brooke, you'll know that I left. So make a note of that. I talked to Brooke on the phone, and that's when I was leaving the farm on 49. And I drove in 49, and then I made a right there on 150 and went up there to Walmart. And then I got on the phone with Sherry, or Ashley, when I don't know whose phone they were on. But that'll help me right there, because that's, you can pinpoint an exact time. And then I pulled in there to that Murphy station. And then Sherry came up there to my window.
Okay.
And asked me if I'd seen Crystal. And this right here is after I talked to Barbara Lane, and I sent her, I called her a couple times. I don't think I got an answer. She's probably busy doing something. And then I sent her a text message. And after I kind of stayed on her, she knew that it was serious, because it'd been longer than normal when she'd done this before in the past.
And this was Saturday?
I'm not sure. You'll have to. So much stuff happened all so quick. You'll just have to dissect. That's the reason I'm giving you all my stuff. You can dissect all that and figure, get an exact time. So I called Barbara, and then I sent her a text message. I talked to her mother at Walmart, up there at that Murphy gas station. I had Eli with me then, of course. Had him with me all the time, and she wanted to look at Eli. She said, "Where's Eli?" I said, "Right there." And then she spoke to him, and she looked at him and said hi, and he said hi, and that was it.
So she just asked you if you'd seen Cherry, and you told her no?
No, she asked me if I saw
Crystal, sorry.
Crystal.
Getting my names confused. So Sherry asked you if you'd seen Crystal.
She's the only one. Everybody else stayed in her vehicle, and then she walked over to my truck.
And when you told her, I haven't seen her, don't know where she is, and she just said okay and asked me.
No, she thought that the wisest thing for us to do was, she said she was going to go to the police station.
Okay.
And I told her that, I think at that point I've already talked to Barbara, I believe, I'm not sure, Barbara Lane, and I'm not sure. I don't know the time periods. I don't know. I just don't know.
That's fine. So,
then I went home.
So Saturday, you went home after
the gas station.
So you think that was okay? So you think the gas station was between leaving the farm and getting showered up before you go to Fabian's?
No, that's incorrect.
Okay. You said you were leaving to go get fuel.
Yeah, I did leave the farm to go get fuel. I don't know. I don't know if that was Friday. I don't know if that was Saturday that I got fuel. I'm sure I did it with my card. I can prove what time that was too.
And
so I talked to Sherry.
Sunday? Do you think it was this? Do you think you talked to Sherry the same day they reported her missing? She said something.
Yes, she said okay. The day that yes.
So they reported her missing on Sunday.
Then it was Sunday. I feel like whenever. That's because Sherry told me she's going to the police station. Is Sherry the one that reported her missing? Sherry's. All right. I had a question from the media or from the news that I wanted to ask you all to think about. You all said that a family member found her car. How does that happen? Rather than the police department, as large as this county is, a family member.
Well, that's a pretty big family, and as I understand it, someone who knew them called them and said there's a car that looks like hers on the parkway, and they went out there.
Who was the family member that found?
Hey, thank you to Tammy. Yeah, Tammy, and then also Lillian. Hey, we got to the goal, so we'll give away the 5 memberships.
On that car.
I don't know, I have to look at my notes. There were 2 of them.
Am I able to know that question, that
I can
answer?
tell you who it was. I just have to look back through my notes.
And Tammy Morels was a cat eye there. And thank you very much for Lillian, generous there. Thank you very much.
See who it was. And I'm
That's
not great either, but I want to say that it was. I'm trying to think. There was.
You can look back at them, I'm sure.
I want to say it was a brother and nephew. I know we took elimination prints from one of them because they touched the car before we got there. So we took elimination prints from them like we did from you to rule out any prints that we found in the cars being that person's.
All right.
So I want to say that it was one of her brothers. How many did
She only had Casey's, her own
Casey's.
brother.
So I want to say it was her brother and maybe her dad that went out there. But I think it was her brother that somebody actually called, but that may be incorrect. I'll have to look at the notes and see. But so Saturday evening, you went to Fabian's house. You had dinner. You went home. You're home all evening with Eli.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody
Did not
come
leave.
over? Anybody not?
Yeah, I feel like, Richie comes over to my house all the time. He's over every day.
Who's Richie?
Richie Riggs, he's my manager, my real estate agent. He lives next
Oh, okay.
door at 115 Glenview Drive. He's one of the people on that list.
Okay. So you go to bed Saturday night. You got Eli with you, presumably, because you said you guys went home from Fabian's.
Not presumably, he was with me.
Right. Well, I didn't want to put words in your mouth, so if he's with you, tell me.
He's with me, yeah. He was with me.
Again, not trying to offend.
Yeah.
I just don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, I don't want you to either.
So you and Eli go to bed Saturday night. You get up normal time Sunday morning. Did y'all go to church?
No, sir.
Okay.
Didn't
So-
go to church. Went on Sunday. I don't remember what we did Sunday.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to
Is
make
Sunday when I
assumptions,
went in? Is Sunday when I came up here and talked to you that night, or Saturday night?
That would have been Sunday night. Mm-hmm. Sorry, let me make sure he's giving me what I need here. Your phone's on my desk. That's what he was telling me.
That's fine. I ain't worried about that. Hope you had fun answering it.
He probably didn't answer it. Yeah, Sunday night you came up here and talked to me. That was after they found the car and everything. So sometime Sunday after 12 o'clock is when you talked to Sherry at the gas station. I think, and I'd have to look at your phone to see, but and you may know or might know, but you called Barbara. You call her Barbara Lane. I just call her Barbara. That's all I've ever known her by. But Barbara Roby was a Ballard, right?
Yeah.
You called her and talked to her about Crystal being gone, or she called you?
No, I'm the one calling her.
Okay. And what does that conversation sound like?
I think the first time that I called her, that I don't think she answered the phone. So I left a message, and then I don't got a response, and then I sent a text message to her, and that's when she called back, and I think she tried to call her, and she didn't get an answer.
Okay.
And you know.
So I'm piecing things together from what they've told me as well. So at some point you do talk to her on the phone, but when you get up Sunday morning and Crystal's still not home, or you're starting to get concerned, that's why you call Barbara? Or?
Yes, exactly. That's the reason that I did call her. But before then, I wasn't alarmed. She'd done this before,
right?
And I wasn't alarmed. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. So you call Barbara.
I knew I gave Barbara Lane more credibility than Sabrina, Brooke, or any of them, because I know them young girls. If Crystal tells them not to say nothing, you ain't gonna be able to beat it out of them.
Right.
And them girls they're just like, especially to a guy, if they're fighting, they're not. And I'm smart enough to know that I knew Barbara would say, "Hey, she don't want to talk to you," or she's fine, just leave her, give her some time. I knew Barbara wouldn't keep me, she's a mature woman. Do you understand the difference in what I'm, so she would at least, I feel like, let me know, hey, where I wouldn't have to worry.
Right.
She might not give me no details or nothing, which is fine, but she would at least ease my concern. And that's the reason I called her over these other people, because I knew I'd get further with her.
And at some point, so you do talk to her, and as I understand it, at some point she came over to your house.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
She's been there a few times since then.
Right, but that particular day she came over to your house, was that before or after you talked to Sherry? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
No, that's fine. So you...
To be honest with you, I don't even remember doing that. I remember seeing her a bunch more this last little bit than I really ever had before, but I don't, as far as talking to Sherry at the gas station and then keeping everything synchronous, I have no idea. None.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know that Sherry was here at 3 o'clock thereabouts filing the report, the missing persons report. So that part I can kind of figure out, okay, so it was sometime before 3 o'clock that you talked to her at the gas stations. I'm thinking probably, closer to that time than farther away, not early in the morning, what have you. And then, of course, fast forward till they find the car at 5 o'clock out on the parkway, and the sergeant responds out there, and then he calls me, and then I come out and start investigating, and obviously I call you to come and talk to me about the last time that you saw Crystal. So that kind of builds my timeline. Obviously there's some gaps in there, understandably. But some of those gaps become really important. For instance, validating or invalidating the guy's statement about her being on 49 between 1 and 2. You see what I'm saying? The gaps in time become really important to me, because that's how I determine where my gaps in the investigations are and where I should focus my investigation. I've got guys out there that all I got to do is call them and say, hey, go check this out. But I have to have something for them to check out before I can call and tell them. Couple things that I want to get into that are going to be, somewhat personal, okay? And it's not intended to pry into your personal life. It's intended to pry into what's going on in Crystal's mind, okay? I'm trying to get a reference for her frame of mind for the past few days before she goes missing, so that I can rule out any possibility of intention to harm self or things of that nature. You understand? And I don't know that I can rule that out. But what do you think about it? Do you think that that she has the potential to harm herself?
I don't know any of all that. Crystal is not that kind of person. I don't believe at all. I don't feel that way at all.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think she had any suicidal tendencies whatsoever?
No, sir.
Never tried it in the past?
No.
Never come close to ODing on drugs in the past?
No.
When she would go out, did she drink much?
She not a whole family drinks, but she drinks a little bit, not any.
To the point where somebody has to bring her home and drop her on the front stoop?
No, she ain't no drunk.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said sometimes she goes out after you go to
bed.
bed.
They do drink and they need a driver, but they're not what you're describing is like a sloppy drunk. Just somebody got tore down. I mean,
right.
That's not an accurate picture of her.
Okay.
And she likes going out and having a good time, but I mean, she's, I guess, I don't want to say like a maybe conservative person, but
sure.
Just a normal, typical
social drinker.
Yeah, a normal, typical person likes to have a good time. I mean, that's it.
So, if you had to guess, how often would you say she would go out?
She doesn't go out real often. Not real often. I mean, she's got all those, all her kids, and we got Eli. I mean, we have a pretty busy lifestyle, and seems like we've always got kids here and there. So I mean,
right.
We don't have a whole lot of time to do that. And we don't like to get babysitters all the time. You know, sometimes if her parents have a couple of the kids, or Keith might have a couple of them, we might go out with always usually, with Eli, we don't usually seldom ever get a babysitter for him. And we take him with us, but other than that,
Well, I guess the reason I'm confused about that is because you said it was not unusual for her to go out with the girls.
it's not unusual.
Yeah, so help me understand. You mean
But that's when
once
I
a
talk to
month
kids.
or once every other month, or I mean, how much time are we talking about here? Because my wife might have a girl night a couple times a year, but she might not be the typical wife either. I don't have any
Maybe
idea.
probably about 2 times every 3 months.
Okay.
Like once every 6 weeks or something like
Sure.
that.
So you said Eli generally does not go to a babysitter.
No,
So
he
that-
doesn't. I don't want him at a baby, and I certainly don't want him at somebody's house that smokes. I just don't. I don't want it. I'd rather just keep him right with me, and I'd rather, if we're going out doing something, I'd rather just take him right along. Right along with
Well,
us.
so that kind of brings me to one of my questions that I had. When we talked a little bit about the last time that we talked when we were at your house, and you kind of explained it, and I get the fact that she would tell the kids, hey, we got a babysitter for the night or for the evening, we're going to go out, I get that. You explained that the other kids kind of get jealous
And
if you guys
we don't want to hurt their feelings.
Sure.
Especially Kylie, the situation. She's always wanted any kid really wants a father figure in her life. She's really struggled in that area, and her mother doesn't want her to think that she's pushing one of the children out and then the other one can go with us. I mean, that's normal. In my opinion,
Sure.
it is.
And I get why she might tell Keith that, because Keith has 2 of the kids. She doesn't want him to tell them differently than what she's told them. Are you familiar with a woman named Christina Holly?
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
There are some text messages between her and Crystal on Friday, and she's asking Crystal if she wants to go to Chuck E. Cheese, I think it was, something to do with the kids, something with the kids, and she tells her the same thing. Well, we've got a sitter for the evening. It's our first time being kid-free for a while, so we don't want to, we're kid-free. We're going to enjoy ourselves.
Right.
Why would she lie to her about that?
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Are her and Christina close?
Yeah, I mean, they've always been good friends. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Do they? Close enough that they see each other on a regular basis every few days, or
No,
talk on the phone? Or
they talk on the phone, but I don't know if they see each other that often. But I think we were also supposed to maybe go to the zoo or something too. She was going to take. She's got a little girl that's really close to this, born in the same month apart.
As Eli?
Yeah, as Eli.
I mean, it's just curious to me. These are the things that make me wonder. And in any other situation, they might not amount to nothing. But
did you ever talk to the girl, the Amanda? All right, so
and she says there was no plans for her to babysit.
All right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that Crystal hadn't planned for someone else to watch him. I don't know that. I mean, you know that because you and Crystal have him together. But I don't know that because I don't know you guys.
I don't know. Maybe sometimes she might use Crystal's phone. I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Right.
I do not know the answer.
Okay. But as far as you know, you all did not have plans for a babysitter that night.
No,
Friday
absolutely
night.
no.
The plan was all along for you guys to go to the farm.
Yes.
Okay. Give me just a second. I want to get your phone and look that phone number up.
All right.
Okay, if we put that number in.
Yeah, go right ahead. Do what you gotta do.
Looks like you got a couple of messages.
Yeah,
I don't know how to do that.
You
I've
just
got
do-
an Apple phone, So just,
You just want to put the number in, right?
or check contacts or however you do it to see who it is, yeah.
192-1390.
As far as you know, you all did not have plans for a babysitter that night.
No, absolutely, no.
The plan was all along for you guys to go to the farm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anything's gonna happen to the guy. I think what's gonna happen is he's going to get a deal cut, and it's gonna point. It's just like the Brightigan case. Exactly the same scenario. A conspiracy. They want to go after the person who plotted and planned the conspiracy, not the. So in a conspiracy, murder for hire, or somebody else is just, hey, will you do this? They're just the weapon, basically. But they're human, so they get charged. They get some prison time. The people who plotted and planned, they're the ones that police are more interested in, even if they're not the actual person who pulled the trigger. It doesn't even sound like in this case, though, that the person. I mean, he has strangled somebody before, though. The person that they've arrested had like a first-degree assault of strangling somebody. So it makes you wonder.
Give me just a second. I want to get your phone and look that phone number.
All right.
Yeah, it did, Tammy. I thank you earlier. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, if we put that number in?
Yeah, go right ahead. Do what you gotta do.
Looks like you got a couple of messages.
Yeah,
I don't know how to do that. I've
just
got an Apple phone.
I
Put
keep
the number in, right?
I keep missing the part
Put the number in,
before.
right?
Or check contacts or however you do it to see who it is. Yeah.
What's the reason that he's doing it?
As far as you know,
I gotta listen to this again.
you all did not have plans for a babysitter that night.
No, absolutely, no.
The plan was all along for you guys to go to the farm.
I keep missing the why he's looking at this number. Look at the way he's just sitting there. He's looking at him instead of really thinking. Wow, that's just kind of weird.
Give me just a second. I want to get your phone and look that phone number.
All right.
They probably want to see what he does. Does he grab the... Oh, wow, wait, hold on. Let's see how long... Now I gotta... God dang it.
As far as you know, as far as you...
Put the number in, right?
He was gone for five. He was gone for 5 minutes.
Or however you do it to
He left for 5 minutes. That's why they cut that part out.
see who it is, yeah.
192-1390. Just call it. Oh, Steve Lawson.
Okay. Who is Steve Lawson?
He's somebody that works for me.
It's the boyfriend and father of
Hey, Steve.
one of the children, I think.
Hey, I can't hear you real good. I'm gonna ask you to speak up a little bit, okay?
Okay, sir.
Hey, I was wanting to know. Hey, I've got some things going on next week. I'm gonna need your help with me. Are you already booked up, or can you help me?
See, don't you think it's odd that he doesn't say, hey, I'm over at the police station here? Most people would say that if there's nothing nefarious. They would say, hey, I'm over at the police station. But he's thinking through it in his mind going, hey, if I say that I'm at the police station, this officer here will think that I am trying to, warn him, to let him know where I'm at. So, that's what's weird. I think innocent people that have nothing to do with anything would immediately just go, "Hey, I'm over at the police station, and they wanted to know what we talked about the other night. I don't remember." That's what innocent people do. But he's actually thinking ahead, knowing what it might. See, that's what's odd to me.
I haven't moved up yet. I'm still looking for a place. That's why I needed them numbers from you.
All right. Well, I can write them all down and get them there for you. But I was actually talking about doing some more work with your little skid steer and so forth. Mine's still broke down.
Well, like I said, get with me tomorrow. I'm coming. I know you have a hard time hearing me because it's where I'm located at.
All right.
So just get in touch with me tomorrow and we'll see what we can do. But my question, I just want to tell you I'm sorry about everything that's going on in your life, brother, and I got you in my prayers.
I just want to say I'm sorry for everything that's going on in your life, and I got you in my prayers, but I don't know the name of the person who's missing.
I said it is a very difficult and trying time, but I appreciate you.
How did the prayers sound, by the way? Please, God, help my buddy Houck here with his somebody I don't know the name of, but somebody that also worked at the just what a weird prayer that would sound like.
You saying that, but hey, I need your help while I got you on the phone here. Do you remember the other night you called me really late, and I forgot what you asked me. Can you?
Dear God, can you please help my buddy Brooks Houck here? He's going through some turmoil with missing so and so that I don't know the name, God. But if you could help out with that, that'd be great.
I guess we wasn't on the phone. I might have been tired. I know it was pretty late at night. Can you remember what you asked me or what you were after? I can't remember.
Yes, sir, I can. I called to ask you for them numbers for a house.
Oh, for a rental house.
Yes, sir,
And
I did.
and what did I forgot? What did I tell you?
You told me that you would call, what's her name?
How did you forget what you told him, though?
Katie or whatever, she handles all that.
Crystal.
Crystal, okay.
Oh yeah, girl. Yeah, I don't even know her name, but I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
And you said she handles all that, and that you would get back with me on it.
All right. Thank you so much, Neil.
Hey, if there's anything I can do, you give me a call.
Thank you. You have a good night.
I mean, doesn't that just sound like the most? Like a cliche phone call to you guys? How cliche does that phone call sound? I mean, I'm not. It could be totally legit, whatever, right? But I'm just saying, it sounds so just. I don't know, man. It's ridiculous.
Right now.
Yes, sir. God bless you.
Thank you.
Now look at the smug look on his face. See? That was nothing. What are you gonna do now, bud? Look, that's the look he's making. What are you gonna do with that, huh?
Right. So that begs a question in my mind.
All right.
If she's in the truck next to you when he called, why would you need to call her about getting numbers for rental
Because
property?
being that late at night, we're headed to the house. I just wouldn't. She normally's not going to deal with stuff that late. And I mean, I probably didn't even look at the phone to see who it was calling me. I'm sure I just answered it.
But he said you told him that you'd be...
So his brother calls in a minute, but his brother actually got fired for making that phone call and other things. So
Call her.
All right.
as a police
Why would you
officer.
call her? I mean, that's an odd phrase for someone who's sitting next to you in the truck. Do you understand? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. But I mean, that's what if that right there is what I told him, that right there is what I told him. We wasn't on the phone that long, but normally I would just. She handles all that, and that's what I would do. She's not going to want to mess with that kind of stuff that late. I'm sure I'll probably try to answer the phone really quickly, so that it wouldn't. A lot of times after I get moving, Eli goes to sleep. Sometimes he goes to sleep in the truck, sometimes he doesn't. So, if you want to call him, you got his number and everything. If you want to call him, you can call him.
Him and his brother are really weird. They like just stare at your face all the time. See, this detective knows that he's the guy, but he's trying to like figure out what can I ask next.
What do you think happened?
I'm shocked. I do not know.
I mean, you told me that she doesn't do drugs.
She's not on any kind of.
No, it's not
drugs that
the
I'm
brother.
aware of.
This is the.
Drinks
the
socially.
what made you think it was the brother?
Yes, not any kind of.
Every 6-8 weeks, something like that, right?
This is the boyfriend of Crystal Rogers.
She ever had
He has a brother named Nick Houck, who's a police officer, who calls in a
Not
minute.
really, not
He
to
gets
my
fired
knowledge.
from the police
I mean, there's
station,
always
or the police
stress
force.
that's your
And then
highs
he,
and lows in people's life, but I
He gets
wouldn't
interrogated as well.
classify her as a stressful person or someone that's deeply depressed.
Well, I know Keith Rogers, her ex-husband, or still current, but not together. I know that he has had a drug problem in the past. Was
But
she with him during the time that he had the drug problem, or was that after?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
You guys got
I
was
mean,
she
I think
involved in that?
I
at the
think
time?
that he has fought that for some time, and I think that she was obviously definitely in the picture while that was going on. But I don't. To my knowledge, she didn't get wrapped up into any of that.
I guess the biggest problem that I have is that most women are not going to walk away from their purse and their cell phone
Right.
in the car.
As we
I
say
agree
all the
with you.
You
time.
know what I'm saying? If she were going to walk to go find help or something, she would take her phone even if it was dead. She wouldn't. My wife wouldn't leave her purse anywhere for any reason. So I can't figure why she would walk away from the car and leave the purse there. When we took the bloodhounds up there, the lady commented that it was though she wasn't even there. I mean, they had her things that you provided us for scent, and they said it was as though she was not even there. I can't explain that. I don't understand what that means. I don't know why, if it's her car and she leaves in it sometime Friday night, why does it appear to the dogs that she's not even there?
I agree with you.
This same set of bloodhounds tracked her in the car from 49, and they had never been to your mom's farm before, tracked her scent all the way down 49, turned on Balltown Road, and turned on Pascal Ballard as though they were following your car. So I know the dog's not defective.
That's
Because
right.
they're following her scent, and they don't know where your mom lives. They've never been
That's
there
right.
before. So the dog's nose is not defective. So when the dog doesn't even try to find her on the parkway, where her car ends up, it's just very odd to me. And I can't figure out why they wouldn't find any scent of her at all if she walked one way or another.
It would have picked it up.
Right. They would have at least walked far enough for her to have been picked up by somebody. You know how if you break down on the parkway, somebody's not going to pull bumper to bumper with you, so you're going to have to walk from your car to their car to get
That's
in.
right.
So the dog doesn't even act like it wants to go in one direction or another, even far enough for her to have even gotten in the car with somebody. That's just weird to me. I don't understand. Unless she was never in her car when it got put on the parkway. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can't answer that. I do not know.
Do you know of anybody that would want to hurt her?
I mean, as far as I know, she's a well-likable person.
Right.
I know that she's done a few evictions with some folks, got a few people upset, but
Were they
Just-
missing eviction?
I mean,
like threat?
there's never a good eviction.
Right, but I mean, somebody
no,
must be
it's
out
just
somewhere.
normal business. But I can't think of anything. She's a likable person. I can't think of anybody who would want to harm her.
Ever have anybody show up at the house upset over something? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Come in there when it's not appropriate for them to be coming to their landlord's house. Ever have them show up at your house beating on the door? Hey, you threw me out or whatever.
I've never had somebody come up there to the house over an eviction saying you threw me out. Not one time. Now, several of the tenants do come to our house. Some people don't just mail a money order check. Sometimes people stop by there and drop it off.
Sure.
and you know, she can write them a receipt that way or whatever. But as far as what you're saying about you evicted me and you threw me out and they're confronting her about it, never happened one time.
Does Kylie's dad, excuse me, Kylie's dad, he doesn't have anything to do with her?
Very little. I don't even know. I think he lives a far piece from here. I'm not really sure.
So I thought they said her dad's name was John Fenwick. Is that correct? Or
no, that's not right.
That's not right. Okay.
I think it's Jesse. John Fenwick is one of the owners of Bluegrass Seed.
Right.
Yeah, that's not her.
Okay.
That's not
so
her.
Jesse Fenwick.
I believe, and that might not even
somebody that doesn't live around here close.
Yeah, it's a far piece.
Is it now? But obviously, his mom lives on Stone Road.
Yes.
So he's a member of that Fenwick family that's from around here.
I don't know how many sets of Fenwicks there are, but I know there's.
As far as I know, there's only two. Now, I don't know which one he would belong to, and there may be more than that I'm unaware of. But so, do you know, is she related to the Fenwicks that own the Bluegrass Seed?
I do not. I don't think she is, but I do not know.
For sure.
I don't do family trees and all. I don't do all that.
I didn't know since you do business, if you've done business with them, if it come up. But and then Ashley is the daughter that her mom and dad raised.
Yes, and I figured out her last name is Johnson. I couldn't tell you that the other night because I was so darn stressed out. But her last name is Johnson, and I do not know her dad's first name. I just know that he stays incarcerated quite a bit. He'll get out from time to time, but he will only make it about a week, and they find a reason to lock him back up again, whether it be drugs or whatever it is.
Have you all ever had any trouble out of it?
I've never met the man. I know that was a pretty abusive relationship from what Crystal's told me, but I don't really know. I can't speak intelligently upon it. It's been quite some time back, so I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't even know the guy's first name.
No custody issues with Keith?
I know that Tori has told her before that she gets mad if Tori gets mad if she's been corrected or something like that right there. She'll say, well, I'm going to my dad's house, or I'm going over here. They'll want to flip back or forth or whatever, split house.
Play one off the other.
Yeah, I know Tori does that, but I don't think they've ever really had any big issue on getting the kids. From what I can understand, that's been pretty good. I mean, if one of them wants them, or Keith wants them for a little bit, or the kids want to go over there, they just had kind of like a mutual agreement where that's what they did, that's just what they did. They never really struggled with it,
Yeah. Well, okay. So I guess where I go from here, we're still getting video from different places, that along that route.
Can I get this?
Sure, yes.
Hello? No. I'm up here. I know that you.
He says, "Hey Brooks, what the hell are you doing there?" Right?
I'm up here in this interview with the detective.
And he started talking really quick to keep that audio of Nick down a little bit.
Detective Snow. I've been up here a good little while.
Detective can hear all the comments too.
I'm filling out this statement here and everything. Are you telling me that's what I need to do? I'm not. I know that. But the way that I look at it is, I'm innocent. I ain't done nothing wrong.
See, here's the part that's why I'm a little confused a little bit. Is Nick really the one behind what happened here? Maybe Crystal was sort of onto something that he was doing. because obviously Nick isn't aware that Brooks is here doing this interview right here, right? So why wouldn't they be? Wouldn't this be something they planned? Okay, you got to get your story straight. You got to go in there and you got to act. So Brooks is sort of doing this on his own. Maybe he thought he'd try to get ahead of it or something. That part is a little weird to me, that they don't seem to be on the same page as to why he's there. What do you guys think about that?
I know you told me innocent people have got jammed up, but if you're telling me to leave, I'll get up and leave. If you want me to. I know I'm going through a lot, but I'm trying to get this guy to help me.
But see, this could all be... See, Brooks is still trying to make himself seem like he's really concerned, but why is Nick so pissed off in the background? Yeah, Spirit Seekers, we've said it like 9 times already. Yeah.
I don't think she's ran off with some other guy. I don't believe that. You can't make me think that. No. Yeah, so do I. I'll do exactly what you're telling me to do right now. You want me to get up and leave? Man, I don't think these guys. I don't think these people have got a vindictive just to skin me for no reason. Man, this is not their family. This is not.
I don't know what that means, Deb. Who? What's he saying?
All right, thank you. He thinks y'all are gonna fuck is what he thinks.
I don't know who he is.
Nick, my brother.
If you want to go, you're free.
No, I know that, but I'm not. He just said just to keep sitting up here, to give a statement, do an interview, whatever I got to do it. But he said, darn, just to keep just letting them just beat you to death over this right here. Just ask what you got to ask and let you know.
And you tell me.
You see what I mean, he knows more about this than I do. You see.
And
you know what it could be is that Brooks is sort of like the dumb, kind of like what do you call it? Naive brother, and Nick is sort of like this seasoned. He's a cop, so he knows how things in the real world are. And Brooks just thought, I could just waltz into that police station and tell him a story. And Nick's like, what the hell are you doing, dude? You can't just do this. So I'm kind of thinking maybe that's sort of how this is. Because now, after Nick talks to him, now he has a little bit more of an attitude. You know, because now he heard from his big brother, right? Or I don't know who's the older one, but I think Nick might be older. And he heard from the big brother, and he's telling him the reality of it. Because he didn't even think of that prior.
have I told you that I'm for you?
Yes, you have.
I said, what did I say? My job is to find Crystal, right?
That's right.
However that happens, my job.
Yeah, that's one of the theories out there, that he knew about the Ellis murders that were done. I have that all mapped out too, because they worked together, and maybe she found out. Who knows? But maybe there's other things. Maybe she didn't know about the Ellis murders, but she knew about what Nick. Let's say Nick is responsible for Ellis's murder, right? Well, whatever the reasoning behind that, because I think Ellis was a drug enforcement officer, so maybe she knew about what he was doing in the background regarding drugs. Okay? So that's what I'm saying right there. So she might not have known about Ellis specifically, but she knew of the same reason Ellis died is the reason that Crystal died. You could make that argument. That Ellis died because he was investigating and likely at some point going to land on Nick, perhaps. This is just a theory. And then Crystal found out about it, and she knew. Now she's a liability, and she was taken out. And, you know, in that scenario, then it's like, where's Brooks play into it at that point? Yeah, you just... two people typed in the same sentence. You guys don't need to keep typing in the same thing.
Just to find her. whether I
Right.
find her hopefully alive and well and safe somewhere or not. My
Yeah,
job
Ellis
to
is a
find
police
her.
officer.
If I don't find her alive and well, my job is to prosecute the person that did something.
That's
to her.
right.
If that turns out to be you, my job is to prosecute you. If that turns out to be someone else, my job is to prosecute them, to gather
Yes.
evidence for a lawyer, a prosecutor to prosecute them. I don't know whether that person will be you or not. Well, did I not tell you when you come in here and sit down today that right now you're the main person of interest?
Yes, that's right.
And I explained to you the reason that you're the main person of interest, right? You're the last person to see your life.
Yeah, so on this, Ellis was driving home on a shift after work late at night, and this is actually very similar again to Bright Again. Same philosophy that I have on it. Like, he comes from work, and the way to get home is he has to, the only way to get to his house is exactly what I'm showing you right here. He has to take this exit, come up, drive around, and go just like this, and then that cuts across over, and then he can get to his house that was right over here. I mean, there's other ways if you drove over there and so forth, but this is the way that you would normally go home every single time. So the reason it's similar to Bright Again in this case is because now it's just like the tire being put in the road, and there has to be a second person involved. I guarantee it. I've been saying that. How long have I been telling you guys that there's a lookout and there's a shooter? And the reason you know that's to be the case is because you don't want to put the tree in the road too soon, because another vehicle might go and move the tree, right? You want to make sure that the next car coming is going to be Jason Ellis's vehicle. Just like in the Bright Again case, where there's a lookout. I mean, it's literally the same freaking story, where you put the tire in the road just as Bright Again was coming around the corner, and then boom, he's the next car and he's shot. If you put it out where he just leaves the house after dropping off the kids, well, shit, there could have been 3 more cars that went by. So this is absolutely similar. I think that there was a lookout right here, somewhere around, maybe here, or could even be up on top of this right here, and says, okay, here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. And then he started to make a turn, then the branch is tossed, and then he gets out to move the branch, and he's executed right there. Then this car drives up here, picks up the other person, and they might come back down here and take, however they get out of there. I think you come around like this, and then back on the freeway, and then back to home. To me, it's really simple, really obvious stuff.
Right? And I went through your timeline with you and explained to you that there's gaps in your timeline, right? Be it good, bad, or indifferent, you can't remember.
Yeah, the whole time, yeah. I mean, the first day that we went over this, I said, yeah, this is how it's going to work. And you know what, you guys? I would bet you money that I can't really, I won't bet money on it, but I think that Joseph Lawson, maybe he is one of the people that was there as a lookout for the Ellis murder.
Things about Sunday. That's not.
And he might be related to the father of Crystal.
A fact finder. If you
Tommy.
want to go, you may go at any time you wish to. I would never dream of stopping you. Didn't tell you had to stay. If you want to bring a lawyer in and answer questions with a lawyer, you're welcome to do that. I'd have been asking you the very same questions in front of your lawyer that I asked you today. Right? I have not given up hope of finding her alive. That being said, you know as well as I do, the longer this draws out, the less likely we are to find her alive unless she's run off somewhere. I mean, that's just a fact.
That's right.
That's just the facts as they are.
Yeah, I'm not saying what I'm saying is 100%.
For her family,
that guy's going to be involved in the other ones.
Right now, my job
I think
is
he
to
might
work for
be.
Crystal. Plain and simple. It's just that simple. If that means that I have to interrogate you, then that's what I have to do. You've been nothing but cooperative with me. I appreciate that. We've talked. This makes number 3, third time?
I don't know. I can't.
3 times. Here, the first time. At your house, the second time. And here, the third time again. Not counting the polygraph, because I didn't ask any questions in. You've not asked for a lawyer. You're right. That's your right to do. You're entitled to do that. If Nick thinks you should go and you want to take his advice, go ahead. It's fine. I'm not offended by that. My job is not to make you happy. My job is to find crystals. If that
Well, the
makes you
video.
happy,
I don't really have any. You probably don't want any spirit seekers because, and hopefully you're not one of those tarot card, fake psychic type people with that name. But anyways, I didn't make any videos on the case. I do live streams, so they're all going to be like 2 to 4 hours long. And I don't know, but we've gone over it many times.
awesome. But make no mistake, my job is to find her. That's what I'm doing. If I offend people in the midst of that, well, I'll apologize later for offending people. If it finds her home safe, then I'll just take the blunt of offending people and go on. Just like what you said. What'd you say? Doesn't matter what they think of you, as long as we find her.
That's right.
So that being said, you're free to take
Yeah, maybe you need
if
to.
you want you to leave. I don't really have any more questions with you. I was just going to tell you where we go next.
All right, yeah, well, wrap it up and you tell me.
Yeah, well, you don't need to change your name. I'm just saying, it comes across as like
What we're doing next, and if it's over,
spirit
maybe
box
last along.
person.
Here's what I'm looking at, right? I'm trying to find video of her car.
Wait a minute, that's Spirit Seeker. Listen. Stoop, Gilligan, little bunny, Skipper.
Getting on the parkway, whether it's New Haven Road or 150, trying to find some video of her car getting on the parkway in hopes that it will reveal to us when it gets on the parkway, because there's some confusion about that. Some people calling in saying they saw it on Saturday, some people calling in saying they saw it on Sunday morning, some people calling in saying it wasn't there Saturday or Sunday morning. That's just the nature of the beast. When you put information out there, you get a lot of it back. So I'm trying to figure out when it got on the parkway, and if I can, who was driving it when it got on the parkway. Maybe she was driving it, maybe she wasn't. Maybe somebody else was driving it. I don't know. Maybe somebody stole it and it got a flat tire and they left it on the parkway. I have no idea. There's a million possibilities about how it got on there. So I'm trying to figure that out. I would like to fill in the gaps in your timeline. I may be able to do that with the video at your aunt and uncle's house, because they may be able to show me when you came and
See, I told you, Spirit Box or Spirit Seekers. My intuition's good. Normally, a name like that, somebody would do Spirit Box, and I hope you realize it's all bogus, right? Like, so the way Spirit Boxes work is, you come up with a theory, and then you tell people that the words that you hear, like yeah, all right, means exactly what you think. So, for example, let's say you want it to say, he ate a cheeseburger, and it went, oh my God, it said he ate a cheeseburger. See, that's what you're going to tell them they hear, and then those people go, oh, I hear it too. Yeah, and then that's the only thing they hear. Much like when you point out a rabbit in the clouds, and they see the rabbit, and they're like, wow. That's exactly how it is. All right. Let's see. Did Nick Houck have anything to do with this? Oh my God, he was at a hut? Stupid! Yeah, he was stupid when he did it. Did you hear that? Everybody said stupid. Boop. Bat shit. Oh my God, at the end he said bat shit. Yeah.
Went from the farm on Saturday, those kind of things. I'm probably going to interview your mom. I'm probably going to interview Nick and ask them, if they were with you anytime during that time. Maybe they have a little better memory of it. They can fill in those gaps. I'm probably going to interview the employees that called you Friday and Saturday, Friday evening and then Saturday, to interview them and ask them, when you called him, what did you talk about? How long did you talk? Mr. Stanley or whatever his name is. Did he answer the phone? Did you all talk on Saturday morning? If you did, what did
Oh my
you
God,
talk
I hear it
about?
too.
Did you go see him? Those kinds of things to help me fill in your timeline, which gives me a better idea of whether or not you're involved in her disappearance. And that's what I do. So, and then once I've done as much as I feel like I can do, I'm going to move on to other things. I'll be honest. Beyond that, short of finding her somewhere, I've done about all the forensic countermeasures I can do. You know, we've gone through the car with a fine-tooth comb. We fingerprinted the car. We've gone through her purse. We're going to start going through bank records.
Carol, right,
She did have an account. I know you told me you didn't know that she did or didn't. She did have an account of some sort. My understanding is...
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, but the brother lost his job over the call because he was literally telling him to not... Yeah. You know what? It could be fake in a way, like he calls over there and he's telling, hey, don't talk, man. They're going to... But he's still willing to talk because he's innocent. And it allowed him to say those things like, wow, despite even being advised, he must be totally innocent because he did it anyways. He still spoke.
Maybe from a family member.
Maybe that's what that was about.
Some,
perception.
Social Security disability.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
For the kids that maybe went into that account, maybe that's the case. We'll kind of look into that. You know, we'll start questioning people about the validity of those kinds of things, about the apartment and those kind of things, and try to get a better idea if that's just a shady rumor or whatever, you know. But I've got to, unfortunately...
I think anybody involved is in cahoots.
You know, that's part of my job. We've got to either prove them, disprove them, or no, we can't do either. So that's where I'm at. So I appreciate you coming in. If I ask you to come in again, or if I come see you, again, know that you're always welcome to tell me you don't want to talk to me anymore. That's perfectly okay. All right?
Are you completely done with my phone?
Yes, sir.
Now.
Oh, Brooks Houck is cool. He's so cool. He's the coolest dude in the world. I love Brooks Houck. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You sound crazy, Mary Lou.
I mean, I hate Brooks Houck.
Too late, man. Too late. Too late. Yeah. Anyways, that's it for the show tonight, everybody. That's so cool to have an arrest made in that case directly related to the murders, and you can bet money that within the next month and a half or so, probably even sooner, there'll be the... So here's what they're going to get. They're going to get from... hold on a second. What the hell's that guy's name again? It's Joseph Lawson. What they're going to get from him is exactly how it played out. And what they're going to do next is arrest the next less culpable person. And then after they arrest him, they're going to go after the one that plotted and planned the whole thing, and maybe even use... They probably won't get help from one of the Houck brothers to rat out the other brother, but the information they're getting from the Joseph Lawson individual is going to be the nail in all their coffins. How do you like that? All right. Thanks, everybody. So thank you to... Well, you weren't even here, Zozo. But yes, we said that earlier. Isn't it nice to be able to do something else? Anyways, Dobby Smith, Mag, Eugenie, Allie79, WNC Granny, Snarky Cinderella, and Allie79 gifted 5 memberships. Then Bama Forever with a cat eye, Chris Rumble with a cat eye, then Teresa Murray, let's see, Caligal 3, Teresa Murray, Kami, Kelly Snyder with the cat eye, Jessica Schubach, Kit Kat, Bama Forever, Georgina Stoliker, Princess Pillow, Gwendolyn B again, Deborah Blum Rogers, Kami, Jessica Schubach, Cindy J, Danielle, Your Gypsy, and then I gifted 5 memberships. Also, thank you to TTJO, Tammy Morell, and Lillian on PayPal. Thank you guys very much. Very cool, very cool. So anyways, that's how it's gonna play out, you guys. It's going to be the guy that's arrested is going to lead to whoever the next least culpable one will be arrested next, and they'll try to lean on that person, but they might not get anything from that person, and then After that, they'll likely arrest the other individual and go from there. So that's what's going to happen. Hey, thanks, Caddy Corner. Very cool, very cool. Awesome. Now, what do you think that his hearing was from? I don't know why he was in the hospital, but that's the picture I have on the thumbnail. Oh wait, what was it? I don't know. I don't know why he was in the hospital. What do you think that his hearing was from a I don't know what that means, Emmy. Sorry. But I mean, I get what you're in general what you said. I don't know what you're asking me. So, anyways, hey you guys, thank you for being here. Maybe on the day show tomorrow. Or should I save the Nick Houck for the evening tomorrow? That's one of my favorite ones, because Nick Houck just... What's funny about it is I sort of am like... I'm not really sure. I'm sort of neutral on it, because Nick Houck, to me, is absolutely part of what happened, somehow. That's my opinion. But he just absolutely schools this sort of veteran... FBI polygraph expert. I mean, he's so lame, the polygraph. It's actually kind of funny the way he is. He goes, "Listen, the time for games is over, Nick. It's not like who did it. We know who did it, Nick, but we just want to know why." And Nick's like, "What the hell are you talking about? I mean, you're not going to." Okay, you got me there, and just say it. Anyways, all right, you guys, we will see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here, and as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Man, you guys are so far behind. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now, and during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all. Just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. Alright, everybody? Talk to you later.
Good night, everybody. Gee.
Oh yeah, but hey, it was great to see everybody tonight. Even you, Zozo, who came in really late there, but it's good to see you in there. Hope everything's going better for you there. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show. I thought, the first story is pretty crazy. I think they got the right guy. They just aren't really able to get the forensic information to prove what they know to be true, right? And in this case, they've made an arrest, and it's all the cards are starting to fall down now. I wonder what they found. Remember when the FBI, when they were digging in an old underneath cement of a house that the Stout brothers built, and that was like in 2000 or 2020, and Sherry said that they found something of interest in there. I wonder if it sort of related to this guy somehow. All right, thanks everybody. Be safe out there.